Greetings, Battle Brothers. It's me, Aurelia Tempris, Defender of the Golden Throne and Servant of Humanity. Welcome in, everyone. I hope we're all doing well. Today is the last day of the subathon. It's been very fun. It's been very long, and we've done lots of Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar themed activities this week. I hope you all have enjoyed it. It's very different from what I normally do, so I hope you guys have enjoyed it as much as I have. I think it's been pretty fun. Hello. Hi, Ghost Waifu. How are you doing? I'm ready for some Warhammer bedtime stories. I would not consider Warhammer good bedtime stories for children. I mean, adults, yes. I have played my audiobooks as I'm falling asleep, but I wouldn't say that that's a good choice for a bedtime story. Hang on, give me 1 second. Sorry, I had a fan on and I forget, it makes noise. It makes a little extra noise. No, these bedtime stories are for me. Okay. I mean, that's fair. You're probably not a child, so there's that. Oh, Super Orlock, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you, man. On the YouTube side. Make sure I have this. And Shadow, thank you for the 11 months of support. Thank you. Yeah, see, existential dread time stories. Yeah, definitely wouldn't encourage that. I wouldn't encourage reading that to kids. Paint me green and I'll be the littlest of orcs. Yeah, you will. You'll probably die the fastest too. I wouldn't recommend that. I was 10 and when I read Gotrek and Felix for the first time, that went fine. That's Warhammer Fantasy. 40k is definitely not something I would do. Fantasy's different. Even then, I'm in the middle of Traitorslayer and there's some questionable stuff. Yeah. There's some questionable stuff about a guy who's definitely in a Slanesh cult, and he's definitely not a good dude. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. I think when I have kids, I'll probably hold off a little bit before we get to that point. Before I say, yeah, you know what? That's a great idea. Let's get you into Warhammer. Just a personal opinion of mine, but whatever. Slide that down. Warhammer is great for the kids. Well, I think they have separate books that are like specifically Warhammer for children. Like, it's like a slightly different version. Cadians start young, why can't we? Well, first off, you're not Cadian. And second off, the state of our world isn't at that point where you need to corrupt their innocence so early. You can still let them be kids here in this day and age. Yeah, there was a sussy moment. I don't know exactly what happened, but I'm sure gonna find out. I'm in the story where Gotrek got hit by a rock and lost his memory, so I'm in that story currently, but wait 40,000 years, it'll be fine. Well, yeah, if you wait 40,000 years, like, you're not gonna have to worry about your kid. They're definitely not going to be around that long. No, what? These are not things that you should be. I guess the whole question is, when are you letting your kids watch these? It depends. Each piece of media is different. I still wouldn't advocate. You're not Cadian though. I'm sorry. I hate to break it to you. You're not Cadian. Unless for some reason there is a planet out there and the government is hiding that we have a colony on another planet. I'm sorry. You're not Cadian. I don't, that wasn't much of a comeback. That was very sad. It was very sad to come back. See how what you should have said was, and you're not an elf, and and you're not an abhuman. That's what you should have said. That's what you should have said, but it just came off weird. It just came off weird. But don't worry, I believe in you. You can get better. We could be Cadian, that... Okay. I see I will not get anywhere. How do I like Gotrek and Felix so far? I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I would suggest there are no characters in any Warhammer setting we should emulate. Yes, I would agree to that. I would agree with that. I mean, Felix doesn't seem too bad at the moment. But I don't know his whole story. But don't spoil it. I'm only on Trollslayer. I actually really like Trollslayer, so I quite enjoy it. So, yeah. We'll chat for a couple minutes and then we will get into the stories. And then my plan for today, I have a Skaven faction video to watch. So we are going to watch that later and then maybe one more video. Gonna get into some more lore. Are you saying Sigvald is not a good father figure role model? You tell me. You tell me. I don't think I need to answer that question. Bro, I legit said no spoilers, okay? I said no spoilers, I mean no spoilers. I will banish you to the Shadow Realm. I will banish you to the Shadow Realm, okay? If there's any character in Warhammer setting to emulate, it's gonna be Magnus the Pious on the fantasy side. Yeah, I don't know those characters. You can talk about car spoilers, but I'm not gonna know what you're talking about, and my mods are probably gonna suggest that you stick to the stream topic, if we're being honest. So, I mean, you can talk about them. That's not a restricted subject. It's not. But I'm not a car girly. I'm not a car girly. How many stories are there? Well, people inevitably have to resubmit their stories to fix a minor spelling mistake, so I'm not sure, because there's a couple that were resubmissions. A little less than 20. A little less than 20, I think. So, I don't think it'll take us too long to get through them all. Yeah, we've had more engagement for previous, we have had more engagement on previous competitions, but that's okay. I recognize that because it's Warhammer, like Warhammer Fantasy, not as many people know about it. Jeremy, I would be very careful about what you decide to talk about, because consider what you say in the chat can reflect on me, and I can get in trouble with YouTube. So unless I bring certain things up, you probably shouldn't talk about them. If it's Warhammer related, that's easier to like wave away, but you shouldn't just start a random subject. So, oh yes, I'll hydrate. I have my water right here. I'm not watching any other videos at the moment, but in a bit we will be watching a Skaven faction video. So, yeah, we'll probably start in the next like 10 minutes or so. Let people who have submitted their who have submitted their stories get in the chat. I see some people that I know who submitted their stuff, but you know, time zones and stuff, it doesn't always happen. Can't always make it to a stream. Yes, I have a question I need to answer, what my favorite Skaven faction is, so I picked out a video that goes over them. So I was just like, okay, this is good, this is good. Pick this one. I swear I've answered this question so many times. I'll even stay up extra late for this stream. Yes, so keep in mind, I'm pretty sure the order of the stories are the order in which they were submitted in. So, like, the first submission, like, is the first one on my list. How do Skaven rank for you against the other factions? I don't have really super strong opinions about most Warhammer Fantasy factions. I mean, I think the Skaven are, like, silly little guys. But I'm not like, oh my gosh, the Skaven, I can't get enough of them. I just think they're silly. So, so yeah, I would say maybe towards the middle. I don't know, there's a lot of factions and I don't have like a super, I'm not like, oh yeah, I have a positive opinion, but overall, I don't like that they want to destroy everyone. Nothing has clicked for you yet as far as Warhammer Fantasy? What do you mean, Bright Slap? Can you elaborate? I'm not sure what you mean. There are certainly factions I like. There's some that I like more than others, but for the most part, it's like I'm like, yeah, that one's fine. That's cool. It's kind of like how I feel about like 40k. I'm like, oh yeah, I really like Custodians and I really like Blood Angels, and like those are the ones that I'm like, yes, those are it. And the other ones are I'm like, yeah, that's cool. That one's nice, but like, eh. None of the factions have grabbed your attention in a big way. Oh, that's not true. That's not true. I would say the High Elves. I like Prince Imric. I think he's pretty funny. I like the Dragons. And I've enjoyed playing him in Total War 3 with Sotek when we had a campaign, but we switched it up. So, yeah, no, there are ones that I like. And I like the Empire as well. Have you found your Warhammer Fantasy husbando? Well, no, because I'm a married woman. I don't need... Why am I picking out a fantasy one? What kind of person do you think I am? That I'm picking husbandos in different universes? Like I'm not a married lady? I am loyal to Sanguinius. Doesn't matter if you drop me in the fantasy universe and I never saw Sanguinius again. I'm staying loyal and committed. Mm-hmm. Fanqual, husbando, best and better husbando. No. No. Definitely not. That's... No. Yes, that's true. Well, he's in the 40k universe. Warhammer 40k, they have like, it's a big blanket which covers 30k. Yeah, I'm not some floozy. I'm loyal. Mm-hmm. I'm incredibly loyal, and you all should be too. Are we having scuff? Are we having scuff, or is it just people's Wi-Fi issues? Okay, cool. No scuff. Man, that scares me. I'm like, No, Bard, I think that's just your problem. Sorry. I think you have the scuff, not me. I'm sitting right in front of my mic. I'm sorry, I hope you get it fixed. Fulgrim was loyal, look how that turned out. Okay, and? I don't, that's not an argument. That's not a, well, it is an argument, but it's not a particularly good one. Oh, I'm not doing, look. Let's get this straight. I'm not gonna be one of those girlies that asks the stupid questions like, babe, would you love me if I was a worm? That's a great way to like cause unneeded stress in a relationship. Like, it doesn't matter. No, it's if I ask the question seriously. Am I dating any of you, chat? No, I didn't think so. So, I'm not actually asking you. So, I would never ask that question. Because that's just so silly. You're just asking for drama. You're giving someone a very, like, a question where they could be wrong either way. Like, the people who ask those questions, they want a very specific answer. Because they want validation, and there's nothing wrong with wanting to feel validated, but at the cost of asking a very silly question that just makes someone freak out a little bit trying to figure out how to best answer it. That's a great point. What worm? Isn't there like a big one called the Nightcrawler or something? A big chunky one. Big chunky worm. I think. Is that a... Let me look. Nightcrawler. Worm. Yep. Well, oh man, if I could be a worm as in a dragon worm with a, like, WY, that would be awesome. Biggest worm. Oh, dude, that's pretty big. Holy cow. The world's largest earthworm is the giant Gippsland earthworm. It can grow up to 9.8 feet long. About this... Wow, okay. 9.8 feet long, or a little over 3 meters. There's pictures. There's pictures of people holding this worm. Hang on. I'm gonna put it on the screen. Stupid web files. No, I want the big one. This one. Can I get a normal, like, open image in new tab? There we go, that's better. Honestly, the web files are the worst thing that happened to the internet. That's not true. It's probably 4chan. Worm. Okay, I'm pulling up a worm photo. Okay, guys, it's an unsolicited worm pic. Look at it. It's huge. That's, yeah, that's meh, meh, meh. My first time here, we talk about giant worms. We kind of got off track. Thanks, I hate it. What's wrong with a worm? He's just very big. He's just very big. And I know what you're thinking. I am thinking it too. But don't say it. The size of the fish you could catch with that? I mean, yeah, they're probably very hard to get a hold of, though. They're probably... No, don't say it. Don't say it. You be strong. Be strong. Don't say it. Don't say it. Yeah. If the size of the worm was proportional to the size of the fish, it would be very, very big. So if I was gonna be a worm, would I be inconvenient and be this big, big worm? Is there a gold worm? Hang on. Gold worm. Do they exist? There's a gold... What? No, that's Terraria. I was like, what? I don't think they actually exist. I was looking for one that was like a yellow or something worm, but there's probably not. All right, I'm gonna turn this off because you guys were getting really antsy about that picture. Really antsy. There's deep sea worms that are yellow, and like other ones. Mealworms. Oh, I don't want to be a mealworm. Would you love Sanguinius if he were a worm? Yes. Yeah. I would. I only like gummy worms. Oh, actually, you know what I had recently? Mountain Dew did a collaboration with Trolley. They're like a company that does gummies. They do gummy worms. And their Mountain Dew flavored gummy worms, they weren't too bad. Were they the best thing I've ever had? No. But I really liked the red ones. The bag came with green, blue, and red. And the red ones were the best. But I also am a sucker for Code Red. Genuinely, the bigger the bug, the less scary it is for me. Like, the beetles are kind of unsettling, but I love tarantulas and millipedes. But they're... How do you feel about large cockroaches that fly? Because those exist, and they're like, they can be decent size. I would not. Look, I already read that book. I already read that book in school. I read that book. That's how I know about, like, nightcrawler worms. Or whatever it's called. Why would I eat Sanguinius if he got turned into a worm? I think I'm being rage baited. I think I'm being rage baited here. What an odd thing to do. Why would you eat a worm? I mean, if I was dared to do it, if I was gonna be called, like if I was 12 years old, like in the book How to Eat Fried Worms, and I was gonna be considered a loser if I didn't eat a certain amount of worms, but I wouldn't. If I had the option, I would not eat a worm. I think I'm okay. Yeah, I was like, well, like, yeah, why? Why? Yeah, honestly, but I do think, in terms of, like, large flying cockroaches, like, no. That's, like, I'm not bothered by bugs. I'm the kind of girl, I'm like, oh, there's a spider, I better go kill it. Like, I kill my own bugs. I'm not bothered. Like, if there's one next to, like, my bare foot, and it's like, oh, it's gonna, like, bite me or something, like, or it's like, a venomous kind of bug, then it's like, oh, well, yeah, no, that, I'm gonna freak out a little bit, but, generally, if I see a bug, I'm just like, oh. Okay. Oh, the Fear Factor bug challenge. Is that like something where you stick your hand in a box of bugs? Is that what it is? Oh. Oh, that looks terrible. No, no, they dunk you in all the bugs. Yeah, yeah, that would suck. It'd be okay. I do okay. Would I want to do that? No. But I could manage it. Ugh, that doesn't look enjoyable though. No. I'm not gonna put a picture of that up because that might genuinely upset some people. Worms are worms, so if you're upset by a worm, I apologize, but So if Sanguinius is a spider, you would kill him? Wow, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. What the heck are you talking? What are you on? What are you on? Like, I just said I kill my own spiders. That I'm not gonna freak out. Like, oh my gosh, there was it was a crawly thing, and like all the other ladies I was with were like freaking out. They're like, ah, there's a thing, and I'm like, oh, just get it, it's fine. Like I'm like, don't scream, please. That just irritates me. You're irritating me, and I'm gonna go catch it, and kill it, or take it outside. If it's a bigger spider, depends. I might take it outside. So, well, I'm not saying I would necessarily kill every spider on sight, but look, in the situation where if Sanguinius was a spider, I would not kill him. But it would be unfortunate if I didn't know that, and then I accidentally did. Like, that's, yeah, that, like... Just got here, what are we doing? We're talking about spiders. We're gonna read some short stories from the chat, and then we're gonna watch some more lore videos. Sanguinius wouldn't ask those questions either, but I am answering them because you guys are asking. Black Widow spiders are cool. Yeah. Yeah, they're cool, but like if one was hanging out like in a spot where like it could maybe eventually bite someone, I'm gonna kill it. I won't keep those kinds of spiders around. I won't keep those. Any spiders that are venomous, I won't keep those around. I appreciate the work they do, but I don't want to risk anyone or like any like pets getting bit by one. Yeah, like, yeah. So maybe we should switch up, and then we should go to well, it's a good thing I don't live in Australia. It's a good thing I don't live in Australia, because then that would be a very different situation. Perhaps we should now go to our stories. What do you think? Start reading those now? That should be good, I think. Oh, do I have... Yeah, that'll work, I think. Okay, we're gonna switch the screens over while I set everything up. Okay. I'm going to adjust myself down here. Okay. And I'm gonna have that ready. Okay. So, maybe I should just get this up. Okay. So, here's how these things go. All of these stories were submitted by my chat. I gave them the prompt. Oh, maybe I should... let me read off the prompt really fast. For those of you who don't know what's going on, I will read that. Okay. So what I wrote was, write a short story featuring a Warhammer character from any universe being transported into a completely different Warhammer universe. It could be a lone guardsman encountering vampire Isabella von Karstein, or Sigvald the Magnificent having a duel with a Primarch Fulgrim. Whatever characters or bits of lore you find interesting, you can include. So those were 2 examples. You didn't have to stick with Warhammer Fantasy. You could have gone with AOS. You could have gone with a lot of different things. There's a lot of options. So there's that. So everyone had a limit of 500 words. Not a lot, because it's hard to gauge how many submissions I'm gonna get. So, yeah. These are them, the stories. They are anonymous unless someone wishes, like, their story to be known. I do not say who has written each story. How is the background volume with my voice? I'm going to keep that running while I read them aloud. And I want to make sure it's not too loud, if I can avoid it. So it's fine. Okay. Seems like everything's fine. No one said it's bad. If it gets a little loud, please let me know, because I won't be looking at the soundboard for this. One second. Okay. Oh, Kuiper, thank you so much for the 12 months of support. 1 year with the Emperor's smallest custody seems like a short time. Dang. You really couldn't help yourself now, could ya? You couldn't help yourself there. All right. We will get started. I do my best to read all of these, and afterwards I will, if you're on the YouTube side and you're watching this, I will do each little section. Like, I will write which story is where, so you can find it easier. It'll be in the comment section below. This track is louder, but is it like so loud it's distracting? Yes, Captain Gecko, it's probably me, but I'm not a Femstodes. The armor stays on. No ab service here. No ab service here from me. I hate to disappoint. Not really. Not really. Okay. Cool. We will get started then with our first story. I apologize if I botch any of your character names. I'm not gonna get it perfect. It's just not gonna happen, so I apologize in advance. It's just not gonna happen. All right. Warriors in White. Boris Todbringer, Grand Duke of Middenheim, Prince of Karaberg, looked over his army against the disastrous horde of Skaven. What was supposed to be a purge of beastmen had somehow resulted in his army finding and facing off against a force of extreme magnitude and weaponry. Cursed rodents, he thought, watching in near helplessness as more and more of his men were slaughtered. He had not prepared for such a force. He brought with him 5,000 men, now reduced to 100 in mere moments. What? That's very fast. That's very fast. His pride would have been mortally wounded if he had had time to think about it. He himself was badly injured and killed more rats than he possibly could have counted. This was where he was going to die. The thought was not his alone. He could feel it in the overwhelming heat of battle. His men were scared, confused, barely holding on. They didn't dare turn away, for fear of what they'd do with their back turned. His only hope was that his death would not be in vain, that Emperor Karl Franz would hear of his final stand and hunt down these despicable pests. Despite the horrific clamor of battle that surrounded him, Boris could hear a strange noise. An odd buzzing that didn't sound like any kind of insect he had ever heard, and it grew louder. And that was when he saw them. 3 lights slammed through the side of the army and tore through the enemy army, similar to comets across the sky. When they split, they darted around the Skaven forces, leaving nothing but a trail of blood wherever they went. Before the Skaven seemed to notice, the lights had cut right through, ripping 1/3 of their army to pieces. Both man and rat froze. In perfect synchronization, the lights turned from their trajectory and returned to the fray. 2 darting around the back of the army, 1 headed towards Boris. Faster than anything he'd ever witnessed, Boris saw this light reduce the Skaven to pieces. His front line, previously overrun, now had 10 meters separating his men and his foe. That was when the light stopped in front of him. Before him, on a mechanized mount, was a giant warrior in white armor, a massive scimitar in its hand. Without a word, the giant rose from his mount, pulled out a knife, and ran into the Skaven forces. By Sigmar, the speed, it moved like lightning from one foe to the other. Boris could only marvel at how fast it moved. From there, Boris could swear the giant was laughing. 10 minutes. In 10 minutes, the hundreds of thousands of Skaven were either dead or fleeing. Before him stood the warrior, his white and red armor shining in the sunlight. The only blood on it was on his sword and boots. It nodded to the general before jumping back on his mount and rejoining the other 2. Off they went, hunting more prey. Nice! We got a bit of White Scars action here. We got some White Scars action. That's really nice. Not enough White Scar stories. I did like this one. I was like, these lights, what are these lights? And then I was like, oh, okay, I understand now. I get you. I get you. I get you. 1 second. I'm just making notes for like stories that I like, because I choose a winner at the very end. It's just fun. It's fun. All right, the next story. Child of the Moon. Bastion Ebonspire rose gray and cold over the barren land. In the courtyard, a black obelisk jutted upward, jagged and ancient. Inside the command post, officers discussed troubling reports. A green meteor crashed here, Commander Havel said. Anyone near it fell ill. Some mutated. Mutations? A young officer asked. Skin, limbs, worst cases. Havel replied. The bastion is secure. Some men refuse duty near the site, another warned. Paranoia, scoffed one. Outside, soldiers patrolled the gate. A grotesque figure approached, trance-like. Pallid skin stretched unnaturally, eyes too wide, horns curved. In one hand, he clutched a jagged staff carved from the same green stone as the fallen meteor, its glow faint but sickening. Clawed fingers scraped the wall as guttural syllables spilled from his lips. Lips. Till slack M. The soldiers moved to intercept him. Halt! You cannot enter unannounced. Rifles raised, unsure why, only that he advanced where he should not. The figure offered no resistance and walked forward as though drawn by unseen will. On the courtyard horizon, a green moon appeared, apocalyptically close. Shadows writhed as the figure stiffened, trance broken. Fully aware, he cried, Retom, Eva no dofti. Madness radiated outward. Soldiers screamed, clawed at one another, fell in fits of rage and terror. Even the most disciplined struck comrades, convulsing with fear. Commander Havel, his officers, and a squad of Space Marines emerged. Bolters raged. Panic consumed the courtyard as a monstrous presence stirred. At the center, the figure knelt over a charred corpse, planting his green staff into the ground while tracing runes. Dark energies seeped into the flesh. Limbs twisted, bones reshaped. From the remains, a towering two-headed fusion of horned wolf and demonic predator emerged. The figure climbed onto its back, chanting as the beast flexed sinew and shadow. A rift tore open above. Soldiers nearest it were flung screaming into a void of endless wails. Others clawed at one another, babbling and collapsing in terror. The predator lunged into the chaos, tearing soldiers and Marines apart. Bolters and lasguns proved useless. Shadow and claw became a nightmare made flesh. Finally, the figure raised a hand. A massive piece of the green moon wrenched free and plummeted with brutal force. The impact shattered stone and crushed Commander Havel together with the Space Marine captain. Silence followed. The grotesque rider and his beast had vanished, leaving only ruin. Weeks later, when the Inquisition arrived, Bastion Ebenspire was a shattered husk. Walls collapsed, fires smoldering, the obelisk desecrated. Mutated corpses lay shattered. No living soul remained. Vox recordings revealed glimpses of the figure performing impossible rites, the birth of the twin-headed predator, and the moon fragment crushing Havel and the captain. The entity, now named Moonclaw, and the beast, catalogued as Umbralock, remained unknowable. Bastion Ebenspire stood as a testament to madness and annihilation. This is a very good example of how, like, busted some of the other factions from the Warhammer universes are in comparison to, like, 40k. That one, yeah, there is pretty busted. Pretty busted, I have to say. Well done. Reka's snowy adventure. Reka led the charge, crashing through the heretical line, the rest of the Tempris Auxilia squad behind him. Before him was a rogue psyker, who raised his hand. "Begone, simpleton," he shouted, opening a portal right in the charging giant's path. He felt funny and strangely cold. Blinking his eyes open, he found himself in a snowy camp. Strange humans with swords of ice surrounded him, and a female voice spoke. "By order of Zarina Katarin, identify yourself, ogre," she ordered him. The Bone head was confused, unsure of what was going on. The woman speaking wore a strange hat with ice shards floating around it. My name, Reka, and I'm not ogre, am ogrin," he answered, pointing to his mouth as he made a wide smile. He could be a spy for the Chaos Forces. "Shall I end his foolish life?" one of the Ice Guard inquired, before Katarin could answer. Reka yelled back angrily, "Reka no chaos! Reka smash bad guys for the Emperor!" The guards moved to protect the Zarina, who in turn raised her hand, ordering their yield. Reaching into her pocket, she pulled out a small pendant with the depiction of a bear head on it. "If you serve the Empire, then you are a friend of Kislev. Come then, Reka. Join us in fighting off the forces of ruin." Reka didn't know what she meant, but if it meant smashing chaos, that was good enough for him. He nodded, and she placed the pendant in his hand. "May Ursun protect you." Reka nodded, tucking the good luck charm into his pockets. The warriors of Kislev and the Ogrim marched out to meet the invaders from the northern Chaos Wastes. Warriors in strange black armor, wielding axes, shield, and wicked weapons, yelled out dark praises as they rushed forward. The forces of Kislev unleashed their own battle cry and ran up to meet them. Again, Reka led the charge, his augmetic legs pushing him faster than an average man could run. He barreled into the Chaos Warriors, the power fist on his augmetic arm, caving their unholy armor like a tin can with each brutal punch. Arrows of ice flew overhead, like a deadly hail that cut down the enemy in droves. Foe by foe, Reka carved a path through the bad men, till finally a familiar face greeted him just ahead. A sorcerer, who had looked identical to the psyker he had been fighting, scowled at him, raising his hand. "Begone, simpleton," he shouted, opening a portal right where he stood, again flinging him through the warp. When he woke, he found himself in a medbay after the battle. He tried to recount the tale to his friends, but they all just wrote him off as having dreamt it when he got knocked out. Reka was about to believe it himself before he remembered. Reaching into his pocket, he pulled out something small. A pendant, depicting the face of a bear. I like that. That was really cute. That's very much like Ogren. That's such an Ogren thing. He's like, no, I'm gonna go kill these guys for the Emperor. They're like, okay. I'm surprised they didn't ask more about his augmetics, but you know, it's fine. They're like, okay, I guess this guy's pretty tough. We won't worry about him. All right. Felix meets an angel. Oh, I already love this title. I already have my guesses. "Gotrek, where are you?" Felix yelled in the forest. He had lost track of his dwarven companion after spotting a group of retreating beastmen that had been assaulting a nearby village. In all his travels with the Trollslayer, this had been the most arduous to date. "Blasted rocks," Felix murmured to himself, as if the branches and the bushes aren't troubling enough. Felix's train of thought had been interrupted by bumping into a solid mass. The traveling poet fell to the ground, dazed and exhausted. Looking to expect a boulder or a random tree, to his surprise, Felix had come face to face with another human being. Upon standing, Felix gazed at the stranger in awe and shock. The man before him was taller than an average human being, and the leopard print sash wrapped around his waist might have hinted at Kislevian origin, but were belied by his bright blue eyes and long golden hair. I wonder who that is. "Oh, my apologies, sir," Felix gasped out while dusting himself off. "Quite all right, traveler," the stranger said in a calm but caring tone. His demeanor also gave Felix a strange calm to his usual emotions of wrecked nerves. "Are you lost by any chance, sir?" Jaeger. Felix Jaeger. I'm a poet by trade, but lately I'm mainly a sellsword for hire, thanks to, in part, to my traveling companion." "I see," the stranger acknowledged. "Must be a very hard profession. Not much time for sleep or proper care for that matter." The stranger looked Felix up and down, eyeing the ragged nature of his outfit, how tired his face was. "Oh, well, you don't know the half of it," Felix moaned, looking downward. "By all means, tell me." "Tell you what, exactly?" Felix questioned. "Your plight. How you came to be here, and maybe how it can be better." He gestured to a fallen tree trunk as a makeshift bench. Felix accepted his offer and sat beside him. He began to tell of his oath to Gotrek and his issue prior to that moment. "Sounds like you've had a lot," the stranger replied, "especially with your father and this Gotrek character. But, to speak from experience, as much of these travels are harrowing, they speak to a greater duty to others, even if you have to break down your own barriers to do so." Felix regarded the stranger with a warm smile. "Probably not exactly what I expected, but thank you for the kind words." The stranger nodded in kind. "Oi, manling!" a gruff voice bellowed out. "Gotrek," Felix replied. "I've been looking everywhere." "Well, I'm here now. Took care of the foul beasties." "Sounded like you were talking to someone." "I was," Felix replied, "and this is... I never got your name." Turning back, the man had vanished. Felix stared, confused. "Whoever it was," Gotrek said. "He probably wasn't important. Come along now, Felix." The two set off once more, but before leaving, Felix swore he heard the sound of wings flapping. Yay! Yay, sanguineous. I'm definitely, yeah, I'm a sucker for the sanguineous mention. I do like that. I do like that a lot. Ciaphas Cain, Traitorslayer. Editorial note. It seems that once again, it falls to me to fill in the blanks as Commissar Cain continues his memoirs on this strange new world. Cain was amongst the first to volunteer for scouting duties after the crash. While most of the surviving crew stayed near the wreckage, a number followed Cain into the wilds. What we didn't realize at the time was that the enemy, known here all too well, was already deeply entrenched. Many of our scouts fell to corruption. Cain, to his credit, took it upon himself to track down the traitors, enlisting local help along the way. What he found were 2 vagabonds. Chapter 1. There's something comforting about sitting beside a fire on a cool moonlit night in the forest. Light snow dusted the ground around us as Jurgen passed me a steaming cup and turned to face the 2 individuals the nearby town had informed us about. "Would anyone care for some Tanna?" Jurgen asked politely. "Manling, do you even know what that is?" asked the grim-looking squat. "Tea, Gotrek," said the tall, blonde human beside him. "Tea is for manlings, ale is for dwarves," Gotrek replied flatly. "I've no ale," Jurgen said, rummaging through one of his many coat pockets, "but I do have some amasec." He pulled out a battered flask and held it out. I took that as my cue. "Allow me to introduce myself. I am Commissar Ciaphas Cain, Imperial Guard, and this is my aide, Gunner First Class Jurgen," I said with a practiced nod. "Imperials," Gotrek muttered under his breath, sniffing the flask suspiciously. "I am Felix Jaeger of Altdorf," said the blonde man, offering a practiced bow, "and this is my companion, Gotrek Gurnison, Trollslayer." It's not often my name doesn't elicit some measure of recognition, but I've started to grow accustomed to that here. Still, I must admit I'd miss it. You'd be surprised how often a little recognition opens doors, both literally and figuratively. "Greetings, I find myself in a bit of need," I said, flashing my most charming smile. "Several of my soldiers have turned traitor, and I'm currently searching for them in the nearby mountains." "Imperials don't know how to fight, manling," Gotrek said, clearly unimpressed. "Sir," Felix said diplomatically, "I understand your duty, but we would require some form of compensation." "I really do miss my name meaning something." I do have some gold with which to pay," I offered. What makes these Imperial traders so special? Can't you get more Imperials to help you?" Gotrek asked, sounding bored. Oops, wrong voice. "I've been informed that dozens of my soldiers have been affected by the ruinous powers," I said bluntly. "I've learned that on this world, directness often gets greater results." Gotrek's head snapped up, a gleam of excitement in his eye. "Dozens of trained, corrupted soldiers? A chance at certain death? Pay us, get me more of that amasec, and we're in. Felix, this might be my glorious death." I like this. I like this. It sounds... It reads a lot... It reads a lot like a Cain book, and a bit of the Gotrek and Felix, at least the short stories that I've listened to so far. So I like how you merge the two. It works really well. It works really well. The editorial note was a wonderful touch. It was a really nice blend. Like, I could see both bits of the story since I've read a little bit of each. I like this one. Tavern of Valaya. Oh, I hope Valaya. Valaya. I hope that doesn't get brought up more than once. Valaya. Tavern of Valaya. We're gonna go with that. My lord. Valaya. Okay, Valaya. Tavern of Valaya. There we go. My lord, is this the correct location? The young marine asked before his companion raised a hand. Yes, Ariba. We've arrived, said Kay. Remember, we are under orders from Captain Turgu to represent him as he was unavailable. Besides, tonight is a great great gift and honor. Ereba only became more confused as the two stood outside the building. It was a cold, rainy evening, and the structure in front of the Tomekeepers seemed to be the best place for them to weather the storm. Ereba opened the front door, and to his surprise, the ceiling was quite high, allowing them to stand straight. Ereba and Cabal Zun felt the eyes of many people inside the room upon them as they made their presence known. "Oi, close the door! You're letting all the heat out!" A man responded behind the bar. Kay removed his helmet, signaling Erbia to do the same. He made the sign of the Aquila and bowed to the man. "My apologies, White Dwarf. We arrived a little late tonight, and the storms did nothing to help us. Is our table ready for me and my brother?" The man made a loud grunt and snickered to himself. "Aye, Tomekeeper, your table is ready. Just follow me. Oi, Bugman, watch the bar, will ya?" said Gromsbrindle as he stepped away from the saloon, letting another shorter man staff the table. As the two Astartes followed the dwarf, okay, I thought I said his name wrong the whole time, but it's been spelled differently. Ereba's eyes were fixed on his appearance, a wide, bulky build, being a head shorter than a normal man. However, this Grombrindle didn't look like any normal man Ereba had seen. To top it off, he had long white hair with an equally white braided beard that went down to his feet. "Here you go, lads. I'll be assuming it's the usual order. I'll be right back," replied Grombrindle as he shuffled back to the bar. Ereba took his time to look around. A large cobblestone fireplace roared within the hall, surrounded by tables and patrons. Aloft in the rafters lay countless banners and shields with many symbols and runes unknown to the Tomekeeper. "Brother, what is this place?" "Was that a squat?" asked Ereba, watching the third company ancient leaning back into his chair. "This is the Tavern of Valaya, and that was Grombrindle, the White Dwarf and the owner. He's a good friend to the chapter," replied Kay, as if that was an answer to his question. Before Ereba could reply, Grombrindle returned with 2 trays of food and a drink. 2 large orders of Marienburg pretzel stacks, sided with cheese sauce and pints of Bugman's ale. "Enjoy, lads." Grombrindle then walked back to the bar. "What should I start with? You seem to have some experience here," asked Ereba. "You'd better start on your pretzels, they'll get cold," replied Kay, breaking apart and dipping his first pretzel into the rich melted cheese sauce. "A toast to the captain and the chapter. Happy Sanguinala, Ereba." I'm interested. I like the inclusion of the pretzels, but that just surprises me as something a Space Marine would order, that they wouldn't order something like with more protein in it. My brain's like, The pretzels. Although, the pretzels with the cheese sauce can be very, very, very good. Yeah, you need carbs, but like protein. I really like protein. "My righteous right hand. My lord, please do not damage Ferris's head. We need it intact if we plan to... Plan to what? Have my hopes be broken again?" Fulgrim screeched as he cut Fabius off. "Sire, we must be delicate with his head. There's too many open vats in the lab." "Oh, your precious lavatory of a lab is so fragile, Then let's get rid of the waste," Fulgrim exclaimed, punting Ferris's head across the room into a blue cauldron. "No!" And so, Ferris had a strange reawakening, being a torment to his head in more ways than one. Ferris's eyes took some time to readjust, as the last thing he remembered was a primordial blade giving him a below-the-neck haircut. But as he came to, realizing he was in a sackcloth that smelled as if a stunty used promethium as an aftershave, he was half right as a ginger-haired man pulled him from his old spicy dungeon of a bag. "My ancestors have smiled upon me this day. Cousin Torgna wasn't wrong. This Gorgon head is almost as ugly as the Umigi." We'll still go with that. Ferris, in his hazily headless confusion, asked this unwashed barbarian, short one, where in my father's name are you taking me? It even talks. This will either be a good death or a gift when I reclaim the wife. I demand you state who you are and what you think you are doing with me. I am Kargnir, thrice divorced, and I am a slayer, and you, my ugly ancestral blessing, are going to assist me in facing the most powerful beast I have yet to slay. Ferris, although irritated, asked slowly, what is the beast you intend to slay? I noticed you have neither weapon nor armor. Well, I suppose I cannot dishonor myself further by hiding it from you. You see, I have been accused of committing adultery with my fourth betrothed now. Oh gosh. Unlike the last three who all tried to annul our vows by trying to kill me or immolating me or putting cockatrice pheromones in my bed to accuse me of Tzeentch worship. What? Who is this guy? I mean, I know I saw his name, but like, I'm sorry, the what? Ferris stared unblinking in disappointment as he listened further. But this fourth wife accused me of fornicating with a giantess. Apparently I spent too long crawling out from under a giantess I had slain, and so I took the Slayer oath because her family had convinced the council, and even took my axe as a dowry. Wait, how does that... does that make sense for a dowry? He pays the dowry? I thought they gave him the dowry. Anyways, Ferris cringed from his inability to cover his face with a hand. But it has been revealed the beast we faced deceived my wife by being a doppelganger to frame me. So we face a demon of Tzeentch, Ferris asked. Even worse, my father-in-law. Ferris's irritation boiled and asked, what exactly is the weapon you're using? Why, my hot and hard-headed friend, you! For when I attach you to my fist, you will be my righteous right hand, acquitting my honor through an iron hand of blunt force trauma that will surely turn him to stone. I'm not sure what I just read. I'm not sure what I just read. He seems very chill with this. He's very chill with what's happening here. I need to know more about this guy and this thing with his wives. This is very interesting. This is the tea I'm here. This is the drama. One fist, two fist, red fist, blue git. Oh man, I gotta read this. Daka 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 daka. Wah! Rack Thug Red Fist cackled in triumph. The super shooters on his Daka jet as red hot as the flames of his rival's jet, nosediving straight into the rocky desert below. And that's for eating me bestest grot, he howled from his cockpit. It wasn't really his best grot, he just wanted an excuse to gun the get down. That, and it's not fair to let the owner of said grot to have a chance to eat him first. Red Fist slapped the side of his aircraft and laughed only for his wind to be spoiled by the sight of a large warpy portal appearing before him. It's kind of like that Humie saying, what goes around comes around, which didn't make much sense to him. How it's coming back as if it's already past him? Stupid Humies. Mork's teeth is all he muttered before he flew right through it. Not much made sense after that. All them warpy energies and all that. Gives you the tinglies. Then suddenly he was out, but not in the right place. This place was all green with blue skies, nothing like the desert he was soaring through. The portal must have done some funny business to his plane, cause now the controls weren't working, and the green ground was getting closer, looking like big spiny trees. Oh, Zaw! Redfist yelled as he prepared for an unexpected crash landing. Well, more crashy than usual, I supposed. Everything went black, then something smacked him good on the head. For a moment, he thought he was dead, but remembered that if he were dead, he wouldn't be thinking he was dead, which was good, because you can't crump if you're dead. As he woke in the wreckage, he found himself surrounded by rocky walls, not like the forest he was crashing into a moment ago. Looking up, he saw the trees on the edge of the ravine. He must have fallen down after ripping through them. He looked around and saw what looked like a war camp in the distance, shouting out, "Da Bad Moon's coming!" Must be a Bad Moon's camp. Not ideal, but better than a bunch of blood axes. He leapt out of the wreck and headed to the camp. As he got halfway, some big git blocked his path. Real big. And blue. Holding a club. Weren't no orc. Orcs ain't blue. It roared at him, so he wad back. Simple. He liked simple things. Redfist charged before the lug could move and jumped up, punching it good in the face with his big boom daka gauntlet, firing a blast of daka through its skull, blowing it apart. Something a mech whipped up from the big old beaky boy he'd crumped. The blue not orc fell twitching, which was normal. Then it started getting back up, its head fusing back together, which wasn't normal. Or simple. It gave a grumbling roar and charged. Rackthug Redfist grinned. This will be fun. You're right, you can't crump if you're dead. You can't crump if you're dead. I don't know what the big blue not orc thing is. I'm assuming it's like a Zinch demon or something like that. I don't know what the big blue thing is. Okay, it seemed like it was a demon. Seemed like it was a demon. It's an AOS troll, that's what it is? Oh, okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. He's the blue git. The champ. An orc champion on the field. A knife-eared warrior who'd never yield. I wonder who that is. I wonder who that is. With hair of crimson and eyes of gold, none could beat one so bold, and thus the legend was born. Blood Bowl may be for everyone, but to face her you would be undone. For in the eyes of the great Nuffle, she would win every clash and scuffle. Her opponents left broken and torn. Her opponents left broken and torn. Not from this world, she may be, servant to a man-god of reality. But now she engages in a new form of war, with a weapon made from the hide of a boar. We kind of a pigskin. From her enemies she derives awe and scorn, reminiscing now and then about the greatest of all winged men. Players and fans who attempt to court this maiden will find themselves rejected and greatly mistaken. In her heart, for this man she'll forever mourn. Through her rising stardom, through her now growing fandom, for the glory of Nuffle, she dances brutally through this scuffle. Through this shuffle, till the day she can return home, she is forlorn. Yes, I like this. It's a poem, very different, and I really liked it. Not just because I was in it. It is accurate, though. It is accurate. See, I said it earlier. I said, I am a loyal lady. I'm a loyal lady even if I was in the fantasy universe. Am I capable of driving? Yes. Yes. Like, that is a normal thing for me. I do drive. I got my license as soon as I was able to. Yes, I can tell it was Blood Bowl. You're not giving him the whole story. I'm only allergic to a particular kind of grass, and it's in another country. Sorry. I'm sorry you lost. I wouldn't make any bets about typical stereotype VTubers when it comes to me. Sorry. Sorry. I can drive. I can cook. I shower on a regular basis. I'm a Blood Bowl champ now. Apparently I am. I don't eat deodorant. They're also lying. They're lying about that. I don't eat the deodorant. Are you even a VTuber then? Well, I have a model. Look, just because I'm a VTuber doesn't mean I'm a girl failure. Let's put it that way. Let's put it that way. All right, we have the next story to read. Infinity Hammers. Explosions rang out through the time-hallowed halls of the Mega Microbial exhibit as Trazyn the Infinite ran for his life. Ducking behind a corner, Trazyn mentally activated a concerning majority of the gallery's defensive systems. Hopefully, they'd buy him enough time to devise a proper strategy. Simultaneously, a parallel cognitive processor began analyzing the events that had led to Solemnes being inextricably ravaged. It started out like any other cycle. He'd been trying to tastefully arrange an exhibit of non-Macludian cephalopods when Senate informed him of a newly discovered parallel dimension. Henceforth, the plan had been simple. Breach the transdimensional veil, observe the locals, and acquire some new specimens. Premature conservation, a win-win for everyone. Instead, he'd immediately stumbled upon a war band of primitives. Now, this normally wouldn't have been a problem for Trazyn, but these savage Norskins, as they called themselves, immediately attacked him, didn't even have the decency to engage in pre-battle banter. However, despite their pitiful weaponry, one amongst them managed to inspire the genuine emotion of dread within Trazyn's atomic circuits. Their leader, Harry the "It's hammer time!" gave the deafening roar of Harold Hammerstorm as his God's blessed hammer turned Trazyn's hiding spot to dust, which then exploded. "Time to die again, skeleton!" "I have a different idea," said Trazyn, backpedaling from the insane marauder. "How about joining my collection instead?" The Tesseract Labyrinth landed at Harold's feet. As the brute turned to stare numbly at it, he found himself suddenly swarmed by greenskins. Simultaneously, mind-shackle scarabs flooded the chamber, intent on burrowing into whatever passed for a brain in this imbecile. Harold was soon completely buried by orcs and scarabs. Even a few Necron warriors joined the pile-on for good measure. After several long moments, Trazyn finally let out a sigh as he approached his newly acquired subject. "Haha! I am champion of the gods!" came a sudden battle cry as the entire dogpile exploded outwards. "Your undead magics have no effect on me because I can't read!" What? What does literacy have to do with anything? Trazyn yelled as he threw everything, every dimensional locker, temporal binder, and quick captured tesseract he had at the madman, who proceeded not only to shrug it all off, but cause other exhibits enclosures to malfunction by proximity. As megafaunus-sized microbes began breaching containment and eating everything around them, Trazyn enacted his plan to get rid of the headache he'd unwittingly unleashed. Reopening the portal to the savage's dimension, Trazyn ran through. He'd lure Harold in and close the gateway after transferring his consciousness. However, upon entering, he was immediately kicked back by a horse, of all things. An ethereal light upon a shining steed stepped through the portal, a candlelit bishop's mitre cresting his great helm. "I am Amalric of Galdrin, Grail Knight of Bretonia, and Bane of the Undead," he announced, leveling his fleur-de-lis mace at Trazyn, "and I have a bone to pick with you." Trazyn dimly registered Harold's cry of "yeah" before switching his consciousness to a surrogate on the other side of the galaxy. I wish I knew more about these characters. I would find this more funny. I would find it funnier. I couldn't I wish I just knew more. But it's very chaotic and very funny. Look, I wouldn't want to deal with that either. Skizzit the Unlucky. Skizzit was a Gretchen. You know, the green, runty, smaller cousins of orcs, nearly the bottom of orc society, above only the snotlings and squigs, and not even every squig. Skizzit's boss was a mech boy named Irontooth. because he had an iron tooth. Orcs were not known for original names. One day, the orcs were fighting some humies, and as usual, Skizzit was busy hauling iron tooths, various gizmos and gadgets to his boss during the ongoing Propa Crumpin'. Iron Tooth had a new toy he wanted to try out. He called it the Shiny Thrower, since things loaded into it would disappear and reappear in the distance when shot out. The Mechanicus would refer to it as the Shock Attack Gun, but to Iron Tooth, it was the Shiny Thrower. Iron Tooth was running out of things to shoot as Skizzit approached to deliver some more ammo, and Iron Tooth had an idea. Before he could react, Iron Tooth grabbed Skizzit, jammed him into the gun, and fired. Now, if you know anything about shock attack guns, you'll know they send the object through the warp before spitting them back out. As can be expected, when the warp is involved, things didn't go exactly as planned. When Iron Tooth pulled the trigger, nothing happened. From his point of view. Things were very different from Skizzit's point of view. Skizzit found himself flying through a purple tunnel where things screamed at him and would have grabbed him and eaten him if he was moving any slower. Suddenly, with a bright flash, it was over. Skizzit discovered he was underground and everything was spinning. He was just disoriented, but how would he know that? Skizzit wandered the caves for a while, eating various interesting bugs and licking the moisture off the walls for water. Eventually, Skizzit heard chanting in the distance. Curiosity got the better of him, and so he went to see what it was. Skizzit stumbled upon a group of short, stocky, human-like things with long beards who had pickaxes and hammers, who were busily chopping at the walls. This happened to be a dwarfen mining team. Skizzit had never seen a dwarf, but they were humy enough for him to know to not get close. Unfortunately for Skizzit, he was struck by a wave of nausea from a bug that hadn't tasted right earlier, and vomited noisily before he could stop himself. The dwarfs, of course, heard this, and saw Skizzit, and with a yell of, "Greenskin, kill it!" gave chase, waving their picks and hammers. Skizzit, obviously terrified, gave a scream and took off running. While on the run, Skizzit slipped on some muck and slid for a bit and bumped into a large creature with lots of teeth. Well, unlucky Skizzit had run into a wild squig, who took one look at Skizzit and decided he could use a light snack, and promptly swallowed him. So ends the tale of Skizzit the Unlucky, the Gretchen who unknowingly was a time traveler. A time traveler, or like a dimension traveler? Cause are we considering Warhammer Fantasy in the past? I have questions. But he did have the worst luck. He had the absolute worst luck. Yeah, poor Skizzit. Poor Skizzit, poor guy. It didn't work for him. Yeah, time and space travel. Yeah, they're separate universes. That's what I thought. I was like, there's no way. The Rat and the Cat. The Skaven scout, Scraff Sharptail, stalked through the forest, pushing through the undergrowth with the skill that was both proficient practice as well as natural instinct. The dreadfully beautiful plants around him, not yet twisted to fit the Skaven's aesthetic, was adequate protection and cover as his lithe form moved towards the scent in the air. A campfire, yes, using wood and black water to fuel its flame, if his nose told the truth. Honestly, it was a 50-50 chance ever since it got broken from Thullewhopper Stonefinger's more extreme enthusiasm for pointing. The unwashed scent of silly, stupid humans was there as well. It was obvious that these humans had a severe lack of brain intelligence. Not like Vol Skulltaker, the leader of the warband, who was the second smartest, trickiest of them after himself. Yes. Kraft peeked through the foliage to see a human camp unlike any prior. Instead of a normal human camp where they erect useless wooden barriers around their camp, these humans had decided to dig trenches. Dig. Humans don't dig trenches. Skavens are ones who dig. In addition, they wore what looked to be less fancy armor and boring helmets compared to those Briton Imperials. The flag in the center was the fanciest thing in the entire camp, with a twin-headed eagle on top of the pole. Kraft had seen enough, and started to slink away, back to the warren to rouse the clan to wash over these stupid, idiotic humans when he saw it. standing amongst the humans as a vile creature of fang and fur. Deep down, his base instincts knew what it was, but his Skaven mind could not comprehend it. It stared at him. Its slitted eyes pierced his very soul, as its cursed horrible whiskers twitched into a mocking, sneering smile. Krav couldn't move, his mind consumed with a horrible panic as the humanoid cat monster raised his boomstick lead belcher at him, and a red light consumed Krav's vision, and he thought no more. So, is this like a Felinid? This has to be just a regular Felinid that sees a rat and is like, yes. First I thought it was like regular space marines, but it's just guardsmen, and they built a trench. They dug a trench. Yes. Like cat, I hate that. Yes, Skaven just got dusted by a Felinid guardsman. Yep, that is what I just read. Yes. I'm glad. I'm glad it got dusted. Two ships in the night. The Emperor strode forward, shoulders back, hair flowing, in the non-existent breeze of this non-real unplace. Man, sorry. Let me drink some water. In this non-real unplace, distant sounds spoke of machinery and constant use, and a harsh light, seemingly from no source, diffused through the haze that surrounded him. His eyes fell on the wretch he had come across, knowledge and understanding flowing into him in a way not possible in reality. He considered and discarded several emotions, until a single remained: contempt. Fool! This is why I only legitimized 2 of my bastards, not 20. He strode off. Is this just the 2 emperors meeting? Or is it Sigmar? I think it's Sigmar, actually. I don't know. Sorry. It's not clear to me. It's not clear to me. I had to be... I'm thinking it has to be Sigmar and Big E. Echoes of the End. I hate whoever came up. I hate this name. Aegidius. I don't like this name. Aegidius saw a blast of green light, and the world changed. Pushing himself off the ground, he quickly scanned his surroundings. Gone were the roaring volcanoes, their light no longer dancing in his ebony armor's reflection. There was no sign of the servants of the Vermin Lord anywhere either, not even a blast mark to indicate the foul explosion that had filled his vision. He was in the middle of a vast plain of grass, waves flowing around him as sanguine clouds thundered overhead. It was then that his ears picked up the distant sound of battle. Grabbing his sword from the ground where it had fallen, he unfurled his wings, cobalt-flaming pinions leaping to life as he took to the air, racing towards its source. He did not know what had happened, but as the Knight Azeros of the Anvils of Heldenhammer, his duty was to neither rest nor retire until all who threatened Sigmar's realm were slain. In but a moment, he was upon the source, hovering over the realms of a ruined watchtower as he surveyed the scene below. There were only 2 defenders left standing. One wore archaic armor of a darkened crimson, the other a plate of deepest emerald, with a full helm hiding his face. Across the field lay the corpses of hundreds of fallen warriors, arrayed in bloodied and torn tabards of all colors, and dirtied silvered mail. Around them swarmed a sea of servants of chaos, black-armored barbarians, beastmen, and demons of every shape and size, who, even as he watched, surged forward against the lone warriors. With a roar, he flung himself down, crashing into the back line of the terrible horde. Again and again his blade fell, cleaving all before him, and yet for all his might he couldn't reach the brave knights. He watched with a pained cry as the Emerald Knight fell to his knees, a spear through his side, yet even as his comrades still fought over his kneeled form, the knight mustered his strength to reach upward, removing his helmet that he let fall from his fingertips. His eyes met Aegidius, and the Stormcast gave a start. For below a mane of dirtied and bloodied blonde, the eyes staring back at him were his own. Then, with a burst of light and pain, his vision went dark. When he awoke, he was lying face up on the ash-choked battlefield of... I don't know how to say that. Akshi? His vision filled with a black armored figure. Up, brother, the rats are routed. The day is ours. Aegidius took the hand offered him, rising to his feet as he removed his helmet and turned to face his fellow Stormcast. By Sigmar's beard, the man swore, what happened to you, brother? You're paler than a phantom. I don't know, he replied, staring out over the ruined battlefield. Maybe it was real. Or maybe it was just an echo. An echo of a past best left forgotten. Brother's a space marine in another universe. That's wild. That's wild. Pest control on the lower decks. Commander Commander Nitch was on the edge as he led his crew, the Gellerfields of the New Dawn. Hang on, let me read this sentence. Got it, okay. That's 2 sentences. Commander Nitch was on edge as he led his crew. The Gellerfields of the New Dawn had been taking a beating and were becoming unstable, but these most recent Auspex readings were different, and therefore troubling. He and his men were dispatched to the lower decks to make sure everything was clear. They could not afford a compromised crew so close to dropping back into real space. All that is left to check is the upper storage deck. At this rate, we'll be back before supper, quipped Theolis, but Nitch paid him no mind. Suddenly, their faithful 4-legged companion, Exemilian's, ears perked up. He's definitely caught the scent of something, Stramian noted. Let's pray it's merely some rodents. He readied his rotor cannon. Betcha it is gonna be. When the squad entered the storage deck, their Auspex readings showed a faint green glow. What is that? Theolis questioned before Nitch cut him off. He nodded to Stroman and the other Voidsmen as he readied his shotgun. They rounded the corner, and what they found shook them to their core. There, in the middle of the storage deck, stood 12 man-sized rodents, completely focused on the green rocks they were gathering off the floor, to notice them. Swiftly regaining his composure, he signaled for his squad to get into position. 2 flanks, he, Rigwes, his best lasgun shot in their squad, Exemilian, together with one of the Voidsmen, took the right flank, and the other Voidsmen, Theolis and Stromain, took the left flank. Unfortunately, he could have never accounted for the Eshin assassin stalking them, and just before he signaled to fire, he struck. The Voidsman was stabbed through the chest, killing him instantly. Seeing the light disappear in his eyes, Theolis blasted both with his lasgun. As quickly as it started, it was over. Lasbolts and rotor cannon shells filled the air, and within the next second, 7 of the vermin were destroyed. Most of the rats skittered and scattered as soon as they heard the first blast. Don't let them escape, Nitch ordered with a booming voice, running and gunning as they slew more Skaven. The rest ran towards the bright green glow, then suddenly vanished. All but one Skaven, that is. He looked far older than the rest, with gray fur. Breaking his stride, Nitch looked around at his squad, whom were just as confused as why this one old rat would face them alone. Kill, slay the man-things. Rattling gunners shoot fire at them. Let none live survive. The gray rat shouted, whilst pointing at them. Before the squad had time to even process what was just said, they were accosted by a hail of green energy bolts. Nitch knew he had to react first. Follow me, he shouted as he charged a very taken aback gray seer, shooting him through the gut multiple times as they charged through the portal. They found themselves in a cave, surrounded by rats, with the dying words of the gray seer being laughter. There we go. I mean, it was rodents. They did find rodents, but they were rodents of unusual size. Let's just say that. Let's just say that. Yes, it was in fact just rodents. Zach's future book. Zach was on a massive cathedral. What happened? Night? Already had been. But now it was night everywhere, even down? His eyes bulged and he passed out. After half waking in a babbling panic a half a dozen times, he managed full waking. Those tending to him call him confused, memories broken. They explained Emperor and enemies of mankind Zach's duty, that he was extreme, but abhumans like him, humans but better, are imperial citizens. Suddenly, crash, screeches, and boarding. Bravely rushing around a corner, he witnessed a green thing bellowing, "Wah!" Zach rushed through smoke and under laser fire. He tore into the nearest, then the one behind that, another and another. By the time his bloodlust subsided, the largest green thing was looking up at Zach with respect, a life will leaving his eyes. He returned to everyone calling him a hero, wanting to bring him to Terra for a medal, but a grease man came in and said that the boat was broken and he couldn't fix it after his chieftain died. Zach needed a medal, so he entered the power room and sniffed out the problem. Warp had solidified in the machinery. He secreted it away. Even the boat wanted to reward him, it seemed. Later, his Planoquin arrived. He entered eager to get the recognition honor owed. Snacking on fine palanquin cheese, he emerged into a grand city, boat crew preceding him. Rightly so. Pain lanced through Zach. He spun to the source. Through the bars of the palanquin, he could see pain tools and sharp ears. The city around him, upside down, right side up, and inside out all at once. His rage pain convulsed, pushing the hidden warpstone through his skin. Filled with power potency, he exploded out of the palanquin. He charged wreck through the cityscape, still exploding. Whenever the city split ways, he used his incredible magic to go both ways. Soon it was all ruin, the very place of it shriveling. Zach rejected every Zach where he didn't wish it to be and leapt through the final wayfold to where he did want it to be, Holy Terra. Zach told God Emperor relax and sat on golden throne instead, fixing Terra's webway. The Emperor, healed strong, said, "Thank you, Zach. Will you be God Emperor instead?" They were interrupted by gene bugs attacking from the sky, but Zach had strong brain. He got a drop of his own blood and tossed it into a maw of gene bug. They all transformed into inferior Zach copies. Finally, the best genes we sought, the new Skaven species choired. "What should we do, All-Father?" Zach proclaimed, "I am now king of all." Everyone cheered. Looking up from his tome, now his by destiny, he sees its corpse author. Must be great wise grace here too. Future know this, but... Fool, he screams, kicking the corpse snout. "My name is spelled Zagajaka." I see what has happened. I feel like I also had an aneurysm at the same time, and maybe I should have read this before stream. I feel like I just had an aneurysm. I understand. I get what happened here. It's like a little Skaven is like, yes, this is the story of all the amazing things I'm going to do, and I am so cool and awesome, and I'm gonna be the bestest ever. That's the gist. That was it just took a lot out of me to try to read. I know it was Skaven. I'm well aware. I just said rat because Skaven aren't people anyways. No, I think it was proofread, but it was written in a way that like a Skaven would write it, which is not a fun way to read it. That's what I'm saying. All right, next one. Let's go to the next one. Panic. The world was quiet, the winds stilled, and silvery moonlight glittered through the trees, but Tristan? You really went with Tristan, but Tristran? Man, Tristran Crete could not enjoy it or even notice. His heart was pounding in his chest. Thump, thump, thump. Too loud for him to focus on anything, but it was what was right in front of him. His breath was ripping in and out of him like a saw in a tree. He had made a mistake, a terrible error. He had been caught out at night by the wild hunt of the wood elves. He had fled his village as they came and rampaged as if they were orcs. And they saw him. They chased him in their lust for the kill. He ran and ran for hours, barely outrunning the lunatic wood elves of the hunt. Worse, he had fled into the forest when he got to it, not remembering in his terror that this forest was Athelloren. Thump, thump, thump. His heartbeat hammering in his chest, his footsteps pounding the ground. Tristan could no longer tell. He only prayed to the Blessed Lady that it was not the footfalls of his pursuers behind him. He kept running through the brush, the forest shifting to clear a path for him as it led deeper down dark trails, excusing the small damages the terrified Bretonnian did in his flight from the crazed, bloodthirsty elves. Soon the peasant found himself in a clearing, and caught up in his own panic, he tripped. Falling into the mud and breaking his nose, Tristan scrambled onto his back and away from the trail he had come from, his eyes never leaving the gap in the brush. His heart hammered in his chest and his ears. This is the end, he thought to himself. May the lady spare my unworthy soul. As he braced for his doom, as a lone glade rider stalked into the clearing, bow upon his back, spear aimed down from atop his horse, but the wood elf horseman was not the only one entering the clearing. Thump, thump, thump. From the mist and brush on the edge of the clearing farthest from the man and elf strode a massive figure clad in iridescent blue and silver plate. Scales stretched across its chest and lower legs. A black tabard hung from its waist marked with XX in bold white. A massive hammer, a rearing serpent embossed on the sides of its head, hung in the warrior's right hand, while an eye-catching, princely silver sword was clutched in its right. Thump, thump, thump. The glade rider charged, and the blue and silver warrior, who parried his spear with a flourish of the silver sword that hit a brutal hammer strike to the elf's horse. The blast of light and energy from the hammer blinded Tristan, but the elf was already back on his feet, spear plunging towards the massive warrior. There was a flash of silver. The elf fell dead. Thump, thump, thump. A new panic set in. No, this is not Grey Knights. That's Alpha Legion. That's Alpha Legion. It might even be Alfarius because he's got the spear. Wait, no. Yeah, no, wait. I think it is a spear. It does have a... No, he has a hammer. Never mind. I was like, wait, if it's a spear, then it's probably... But you know, you're right. It is Alfarius. It is Alfarius. Thank goodness. Okay, good. Yeah, it did for a second. I saw my screen light up and I was like, oh no. Cool. I'm glad it was just a blip. Okay, cool. Great. All right. I think this is the last one. You cook. By Sigmar and whatever god you worship, let me come with you, said Chef Harmut Rumster. He collapsed onto his small halfling knees in the churned mud and fermented gore and looked up at what may seem a colossal distance to a person of his stature along the chalky, gritty, dark beard of the ironclad survivor. A dwarf taller than any dwarf he had ever seen, and both paler and darker in some distinct way. I don't care, pathetic small creature, but it's not me you're supposed to be asking, it's him. The dwarf pointed to the great heaving mountain behind him. Rumster shook as he creaked his neck upwards, each adjustment never quite enough to meet the eyes of the bellowing flesh that loomed taller than even the hardened dwarf's conical... I think it's miter. I forget how to say that word. Peering over a collection of long, mismatched fangs were two disproportionately small eyes of an ogrekin dressed as a normal man, though, with enough cloth to outfit a regiment. Well, stammered Rumster, will he understand me? I speak good, the ogre blared with a snort of pride and a hint of scorn at Rumster's assumption. Best speaker of the feast masters, yeah. See, he understands you well enough, the dwarf added, bearing his own set of mangled, blackened choppers. Why would you want to come with us? We finished the job. The caravan you were riding with hired us for, and we've managed enough to the moot. Just go home. It's not my home, Rumster interjected. I was born in Middenheim, in the halls of lords, well, underneath them. Born from a long line of cooks, chefs, confectioners, and... oh, gosh. That was it. That word, it talks about like pastries and like baking, but I forget how to say it. It's French. I don't know. We're gonna skip it. That dates all the way back to the time Emperor Ludwig himself. I can make any dish from Bretonnian cakes to Kislev goulash. His blood began to cool, and after a pause he continued his plea. I heard, as I was traveling south, that there are amazing and unique cuisines east of the Empire, some that even the lords of Mindenheim or even Altdorf have yet seen or tasted. I want to learn them to please my lord back home, who kicked me out after his brat son refused to eat my dishes in favor of copious amounts of cheap tarts and sweetmeats that even a scullery wench could conjure. So please take me with you. You come to Feastmaster lands. You cook, the ogre huffed with a smile, proving the energy required to move the air from under his fat mass was rarely wasted on words. After a secondary grunt of affirmation from the jagged-limbed dwarf, Rumster quickly fished his pan and knapsack from the thick mud and hurried alongside them. With the guidance of the gloomy dwarf, they traveled east past Mount Silverspear down to the Tower of Gorgoth on the ancient caravan routes of the strange dwarves of the Black Fortress. The dwarf pointed them farther east, and Rumster waddled quickly behind the ogre, back to the homeland of the Feastmaster ogres. You cook. There we go. There we go. I think... yeah, I think that was the last one. That was the last one. Yeah, we did get, you're right, we did get another, like, cooking kind of theme for the, for today. We did get that. Oh shoot, that's not what I want. One second, I'm trying to, stop. I'm sorry, I'm trying to put things back in order on my screen because they got all messed up. It's all messed up now. So we have covered all of the short stories. Thank you to everyone who submitted their stories. I appreciate it. Did you miss all stories? We just finished. It was bad timing. We literally just finished them. It's okay. We will have the VOD, and I will have like the spots from the stories labeled. Yes, no problem. I like reading the stories, and I like encouraging people to be creative. Although I will say after this, I want you to be less creative with the names, please and thank you, because I have to read those, And the fact that, like, I can't... I don't immediately know pronunciations and I can't exactly ask you that, it makes my life difficult. It makes my life difficult. I can read, I just can't, there's certain words, it's been a while. Less creative with the names and don't write in orc or Skaven talk. The orc talk makes more sense. The Skaven talk, I was like, you could not save me from that. That was, I could not. You could have more, like, you could have, like, fun names, but it's a little different. Skaven is barely English, yeah. I was tempted to send one, but I couldn't think of a short story. Well, next time, just try something. I usually have more of, like, a deadline. I usually give, like, 2 weeks, but, this one was a little shorter. No, so you can, so for those of you who have, like, who want to write more stories, we have a channel in the Discord server that is, like, specifically for, like, writing stories and stuff. You can write whatever stories in there. Obviously, don't make them not safe for work, because I don't have that set aside to, like, you know, protect kids and stuff. I don't have any not safe for work channels on my server, so, like, make it appropriate. But yeah, there you can use, you can post in that channel, in that special channel. Yeah, it's very hard to keep things under, like, 500 words, but that's mainly because, it's because I can't anticipate how many people will submit their stories, and it'll be like a day where I'm like, yeah, you can have 1,000 words, and then, like, 50 people submit stories, so I'm reading about 50,000 words in a whole stream. It makes it difficult. Oh, hey, Anonymous, thank you so much for the 10 gift subs. Thank you for the 10 gift subs. And we got wait, is it 15? Wait. No, well, you gave the 5 gift subs, and then Valorant gave 10 more. Oh, dang. Dang, thank you so much. We're already close to the next goal, the chat meme competition. We're going through chat's memes, really. Oh, I have to pick a favorite. I have to pick my favorite. I gotta go with my gut. I think I gotta go with my gut. I need to pick a favorite. The one that I liked the most is the one where it was, I believe it was called Ciaphas Cain, the Traitorslayer. Because I really liked, it was a very, very good blend of Ciaphas Cain and of the Gotrek and Felix. That was it was really, really good. Oh man. And Fernand thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. We have reached our next goal. Yeah. We will have a stream where we go through we'll go through chat's memes. So we'll do that in, like, the next week or so, I think. So whose story is that? Hang on, let me look on my page. 1 second. We will vet the memes for. Well, don't worry, I was gonna look at the memes too. Hang on, I'm finding out who the person is, because I say the name of the person who won. That was in the beginning. It was you, Shadow? Yay! Okay, great. I will make sure I add the extra special role. I will add the extra special role to your Discord icon on the server. Good job. I'm impressed. I wholly expected the favorite to be Sanguinius's talk with Felix. So I I like that one, but I'm not always so easy where it's like you put Sanguinius in the story and I automatically pick it. That's not, it is a good assumption. It's a fair assumption, honestly, but it's not, I don't always do that. Well, Aurelia thinks story streams are about letting everyone be creative. What story streams are actually about? Chat peer pressuring her into doing voice acting. Kind of. I mean, if I really wanted to do the voice acting, I would read these in advance, but I usually don't because I want to have genuine reactions going into the stories. I could. I'm not opposed to doing it. Kyber, did you write that one? Did you write the Skaven one? Oh my gosh, if you wrote the Skaven one, I might have to take your special icon away. No, you didn't? Okay, I was like, so help me if you wrote that. You did the Skaven one? Oh my gosh. Oh man. That was... Oh my gosh. You did the Trazen one. That one was good. I wish I knew more about those characters. Oh my goodness. Yeah, my brain was doing the big hurt. It was not having the time of my life. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, so as I promised, we will do more lore. Oh, I gotta move this, because we're gonna do... The video that we're gonna watch is about the Skaven, so we just hit our 850 goal. Thank you guys so much. The next goal is 900, which honestly I'm a little worried about. That goal is my friend Froggy. If we hit this goal, I did give her a heads up that it might happen, but I said just, she's gonna pick my food. She is notorious for like eating very bizarre things. So there is a possibility it could be a very gross thing that I eat. I don't think she would make me eat something moldy. I feel like she's a nice enough person that she wouldn't do that to me. But I don't know. I don't know. I'm a little nervous about it. I don't think she'll have me eat mold, but I'm worried about the combination of things. Do you like blue cheese? No. I'm not really a fan of blue cheese. It's okay. Like, there's times I've had it and it's fine, but like, as a whole, not so much. Not so much. Okay. So this video that we're gonna watch is Skaven Great Clans, the many kinds of rat. Pause the background music. We're gonna have to adjust the volume so we can hear him properly, but I have to answer a question. I have to answer the question that is which Skaven clan would I be? It's part of one of the confessions I had to do. It was a very interesting confession, but we're gonna do it. So this one is by Pancreas No Work. That's Erebus. I don't know. I've not watched this video, so I don't know why Erebus is here. So this one is by Pancreas No Work. We're gonna be... Actually, I'm gonna change my stream title. Rat... Oh. I keep messing up my stuff. Rat lore. Change it. There we go. Oh, Kyber, thank you so much for gifting a sub. Hey, thank you so much, man. Almost missed that. Erebus is there to rage bait the audience and it's working. Yeah, it kind of is. It is working. It is working. Okay, let's check the sound, if the sound is good.
Warhammer has a lot of
No, more. Whoop. Here.
rats. There's plenty of normal rats to go around in any of the settings, because be it the 40...
Nope, it needs to be higher. My audio is up all the way too, dang. Quiet. Yes, that's why Erebus is there. He is the worst of all rats.
Warhammer has a lot of rats. There's plenty of normal rats to go around in any of the settings, because...
How was that? Was that a lot better? It seems like he's in the proper threshold. Good, better. Okay, rat time. Yes, yes. Yes, we will put... 1 second. Okay, don't redeem Ratrelia, because if you redeem Ratrelia, the rat will go away. I'm giving you the rat for free. Another confession has been reached. What do you mean? What do you mean? Did the anonymous... But we don't know if anonymous is the same person, and usually anonymous means they want to remain anonymous, so I don't know how we're going to do a confession. You're gonna have to figure that one out. Because how are we gonna do a confession? The silence in the chat is overwhelming. Or my stream died, but I see you are still going. First, it's not a... Why do you see a mouse? We're learning about the Skaven. Random wheel. Random wheel. It's not like answering a question. Like, it's not just... Yeah, but it's not answering a question. It's like confessing something. It's like making me say something. Okay, how about this? You guys go ahead. You collect potential confessions. Okay, mods? Mods collect the confessions. And then present them in the mod chat. And then we will make a poll. Okay? No more than 5. No more than 5. Okay? We'll do that. I'll do a confession, but you gotta collect them. And don't just put your own down. You have to get at least one other person to agree. So if you agree with one of the confessions, yes, give the confessions. We will start this. We're gonna learn about the Skaven. We're gonna learn about the Skaven, and you're gonna like it. No, you don't need to write the confession. Well, yes, you do. What is something you want me to confess? Yeah, don't confess anything you've done. That's probably... Don't do that. Okay, we begin. I desire to learn about the rats.
Warhammer has a lot of rats. There's plenty of normal rats to go around in any of the settings, because be it the 41st millennium or the magical mortal realms, these little critters are hard to get rid of. It's so far only Alberta that has managed to remain free of them in real life.
Really?
In 40k, there's ratlings,
Wow.
which are granted actually hobbits, but rats in the name, and they're little fellas, so they still kinda count. And of course, there's the Skaven, the premier ratman of Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar, and one of the more unique things GW has ever created. God bless the people that decided to give rats machine guns, because that's very fun. But even these despicable morons have to have some form of organization. Their main idea for things may be throwing rats at a problem until it's solved, but they have to all have some vague
like the
agreement that
Imperium.
a certain thing is a problem to do that. Thus we come to the various clans of Skavendom. A few of them are different flavors of mad scientists, wielding either technology beyond the realm of sanity or creating the most horrific abominations that would make Frankenstein look tame. Others are sneaky ninjas, darting in and out of the shadows to achieve what they want. And more still subscribe to the time-tested method of outnumbering the enemy 100 to 1 and drowning them with pure weight of rats more than anything else. The clans of Skavendom are beautiful to behold in the way only absolutely horrid things can be. So let's take a look at the different clans of them you can expect to find in the Warhammer world. But before we start, a quick shout out to Minimaker, this video's sponsor. What's Minimaker make? They make minis, dude. It's in the name. 3D printed minis for playing tabletop RPGs or war games with that you could drop off the table and they'll be fine. Minis for displaying nice and pretty on your shelf. Minis that are on a budget but still look phenomenal. They've got a quality option for each of those choices, and you have plenty of options of minis to purchase. Just as good as their quality is how they get it to you. All of it's made to order, which means there's no need to worry about either a mini being out of stock or a scalper buying all the stock and then hoarding it like a dragon. You will get what you want, and it'll ship worldwide within 2 to 10 business days. I have waited longer for medical supplies than I did for the minis they sent me. That is not a joke. That is how good their shipping is. And if you have any questions or suggestions, you can reach out to them no problem and tell them what's on your mind. Is something missing from the store? They'll add it as a mini. You can make suggestions for minis to be added, and they will add them. If that isn't grade A customer service, I don't know what is. To get in on these phenomenal minis, it's nice and easy. Go to minimaker.com and start shopping. If you buy enough minis, you can even get points to buy more minis with. And if you use code Pancreas at checkout, you get yourself a 10% discount. Head on over to minimaker.com now, use code Pancreas, and get yourself some phenomenal minis today. Now then, time to invest in rat poison. To start off, I should say that there are untold thousands of Skaven clans even before we get to Age of Sigmar, where their numbers started reaching the singularity. Some of them are truly massive, numbering in the hundreds of thousands of rats. Others are just a few isolated vermin with maybe a single good thing going for them. Most of them, however, take influence from one of the great clans, which is what we'll be talking about today. It's not a hard-set rule that the Skaven clans are all copies of a greater one. There's one clan, Clan Rictus, that has its claim to fame in the form of tolls they force on anyone entering or leaving the Darklands. Another, Clan Scurvy, are exactly what you think they are, pirate rats. There are as many things for a Skaven clan to be about as there are Skaven clans out there, because while the rats love to steal things from everyone else, they also get up to plenty of wacky nonsense when left to their own devices. But the great clans, as you can expect from the name, have such massive amounts of influence that their cultures and more leak into the rest of Skavendom. So for the sake of simplicity, we'll focus today on those great clans, as well as one other particular highlight. Starting us off, we have... Welcome to Rat Raytheon, young engineering major. Say goodbye to your moral code and say hello to making new and exciting ways to detonate dwarfs. Fair's fair, though. The word Skaven...
My moral compass leaving my body. when the Raytheon representative approaches me.
And moral code were never together to begin with. Clan Scryer is the wealthiest Skaven clan out of all of them.
What's with these
and
orbs?
Are those
grenades?
Great clans. Their power lays in both the realm of mundane technology as well as arcane might, and given how prevalent warpstone is in Skaven society, those things frequently overlap. To give you an idea as to how prolific they are, pretty much every Skaven weapon out there was created by these guys. Rattling guns, Jezzails, mortars, warp fire throwers, doom wheels that run down the enemy,
they're the engineering
cannons that can destroy the moon. If it's anything more than a rusty spear, it probably came from a Scryer workshop. Don't take that to mean that Clan Scryer only makes weapons, though, because there's plenty of non-violent things they make as well, as much as a shocker as it may sound.
Non-violent things for a Skaven? I don't believe it.
For a Skaven to make non-lethal creations. The warp lights that allow the rats to see in their tunnels are another invention of theirs, as is the warp rail that connects the entire Under-Empire. That's right, the Skaven have subways. It was Clan Scryer digging machines that excavated those rail networks as well. Clan Scryer is so powerful and
they have their own system. I had no idea. Wow.
Because they make the things the lore doesn't focus on. Those little things that you logically know need to exist, but they're boring, so they aren't really talked about. Their influence runs deep because of how widespread their stuff is, and though no Skaven clan has ever quite taken down all the others, Clan Scryer is in a position to cause perhaps the most damage if they went rogue, only matched by one other. Really, they could just stop selling stuff to everyone. The only people that might have the power to force them are the Grey Seers, given that they're the mouth of the Horned Rat and all that. Everyone else has to pay top dollar for Scryer weaponry, because for all that it is still Skaven equipment and therefore prone to exploding, Scryer does good work. Would you rather be a Skaven clan with access to Rattling guns, or one banned from ever touching one of the things? That's how Scryer stays in business. I was tempted to say that Clan Scryer is one of the more dangerous Skaven clans to be a part of, but then I thought about it and that's an almost meaningless statement. All Skaven clans churn through rats like popcorn. That doesn't mean anything to say one is particularly dangerous. Instead, here's their specific way of getting themselves killed. Because Clan Scryer's all about engineering projects, they naturally spend a lot of time researching. Now, even in the real world, sometimes things go wrong. Just look at the
He brought in the lore. He brought in the lore. Oh gosh. Oh. Oh.
Demon Core, a slip of a screwdriver, and everyone in that room became a dead man walking. Clan Scryer is that, but not only do the rats not care if you blow up, sometimes you blowing up is either the point or a happy accident they're going to put more research into. Health and safety protocols do not exist, for such things are not the Skaven way. Clan Scryer's research, even for the most mundane of things, involves a body count of the dozens, if not hundreds, and for some of this stuff, it's absolutely reaching the thousands. I would guarantee you that Rattling guns were tested on thousands of Skaven slaves before they were ever deployed to the field. And Skaven engineering being what it is, even the non-weapon things they create are probably rickety pieces of garbage that only work just well enough to be sellable to other rats. The life of a warlock engineer and his acolytes are one fraught with peril, not even from other rats necessarily, but from their own deranged experiments. Yep. Other rats will, of course, also try to kill them the moment they look like their research is going to succeed, though. Why do all that troublesome research yourself when you can kill the guy who did, copy his notes roughly accurately, and take credit? But all of this is irrelevant. If a warplock engineer can make one moderately successful project, be it a weapon or something like those warp lights to assist the Skaven in day-to-day life with, he will be rich beyond his beliefs as he milks it for everything it's worth. More importantly for the whole, Clan Scryer will be able to profit from his inventions as they sell it to the rest of the Under Empire. 10,000 dead slaves and a few dozen dead warlocks is nothing.
That's a good life if you can manage to invent something like new, and that's very explodey.
Compared to the amount of warp tokens that can be raked in as a result of a new invention, and every warlock wants to be the one to invent it and take credit for it, more importantly. And Scryer technology, for how unreliable it is genuinely more advanced than anyone else's. The dwarfs will occasionally use oil in some projects like their gyrocopters and the Spirit of Grungni, and they do have some trains. The Skaven, meanwhile, have invented Skype, underground rail networks, and energy weapons. Even from their point of view, Scryer tech can be unreliable, but that's where the difference between people and Skaven comes in. A human army outfitting their soldiers with weapons that have a 1/3 chance of exploding would be seen as cruel and evil, as well as just wasteful. To the Skaven, who cares if they explode? As long as Scryer stuff kills at least a few enemies before it takes out your gunners, and it's almost certainly reliable enough to do at least that, it did the job it needed to. Of course, the likelihood of something going wrong tends to scale with how grand a piece of tech it is, but that just means you have to be farther away from it when it's deployed. And really, did you want to be next to the Warpstone nuclear bomb when it went off anyways? Clan Scryer is in fantasy ruled by Morskatar. There's not much known about this rat, but as a member of the Council of 13, you can safely assume he's incredibly smart, dangerous, and cunning. In fact, he's over 400 years old and once was able to declare himself the Emperor of Skavenblight during their second civil war. Scryer technology may be the—
I don't know anything about the Council of 13, but I'm assuming there's the 13 rats in this picture, but I have no actual context for what any of these guys are and what they do, unfortunately.
The only thing keeping him around, but at the end of the day, it is keeping him around, proving his capability as an engineer. And by virtue of being a Skaven 400 years old, you can assume he knows how to handle any upstart underling acolytes that might try and take credit from it,
incredibly,
or as it were, keep him from taking their credit. For one last thing, I would theorize that Clan Scryer interacts with non-Skaven non-violently more often than most other clans do, because the thing about Skaven research and development is that as often as not, it involves stealing stuff from the other races. If they can get their hands on a dwarf cannon, they don't have to go through the rigmarole of designing a whole cannon. They just have to jam it full of warpstone and see what happens when they fire it. So it benefits them to be, if not sneaky, then much more directed with their assaults. Non-violently interacting is definitely not the best way to put it, but essentially they aren't attacking you because it's part of a glorious scheme to bring about Skavendom's rise to power.
Wait. Whoa, I didn't even get to look at these. Excuse Excuse me, you started a poll and you didn't inform me. You just posted it. You also didn't put it in the mod channel like I said, so I could look at them in advance. No, you did, but you didn't even wait for me. You didn't even wait for me. Oh well, whatever. It's too late now, I guess.
Just because of that anyways. They probably just want your stuff and are more than happy to kill you to get to it. The other mad scientist clan, this one being for the Frankenstein Fellows. An ancient clan, their origins date back as far as -1450 in the imperial calendar.
I'm trying to see if I recognize this map, because we fought a lot of Skaven early on in my last Total War campaign. I don't know if I played this map.
Even after they accidentally blew up most of the Under Empire, marched northwards and founded the city of Hellpit. With the area being right on the border of Norska and therefore close to the Chaos Wastes, all sorts of lovely abominations can already be found here. The forebearers of Clan Moulder took one look at all these monsters and thought to themselves, how can we make them even worse? The capital of Hellpit is rich with warpstone as well, further allowing them to do their grisly work. Clan Moulder has sure enough become a great clan by virtue of how many different kinds of beasties they create in their lab to sell.
So
their packmasters will scoop up any suitably interesting creature they find and take it back to a Master Moulder's lair to experiment on. And experiment is only the word I'm using because I can't really think of a better one. Torture is a good way to describe it, in all honesty. They'll just poke and prod in a creature's insides, adding and removing bits to see what happens, and then when it almost inevitably dies, they'll round up another one and start over again. This is one of the more horrific of Skaven clans because of their focus on biological experiments. When Clan Scryer experiments with a new piece of tech, the danger is that it'll blow up in their face. When Clan Moulder has a new formula for warp steroids to test, they're kidnapping animals and people to experiment on with. Though any clans can do it, Clan Moulder is one that especially likes to go up and kidnap entire villages Dark Eldar style. One second everyone is going about their day, the next the village is a ghost town. The buildings are untouched, food can still be found half-eaten on plates, but all the people are gone, spirited away to Hellpit to be turned into something horrific. Hellpit itself is layered like a cake, or more accurately, layered like hell in Dante's Inferno. 9 different levels of atrocities await anyone coming to this place, naturally getting worse.
I guess the natural question is, would you rather be held captive? You can't die. You have to choose one or the other. Do you choose being held captive by Clan Moulder or the Drukhari? I think the best option is being held captive by Moulder, because the Drukhari are actively trying to keep you alive. The Skaven are just experimenting. They're just experimenting. No, you can't choose that. I told you, you have only, those are your 2 options. You are imprisoned. You are imprisoned, and you have 2 options. Nope, you have to answer. You have to answer. Yeah, I think with Clan Moulder, you'd at least die faster. No. I don't think you guys know how this works. This is would you rather, and you choose one. Not a third option. There's no three options. You get 2. If I'm imprisoned, I can ask my fellow inmates for a merciful end. Yeah. No, you don't get to find out what the experiment is. No. You'd be stuck with the Drukhari. Yikes. Oh, is that the confession we're going with? Yes, I could see that the poll ended. I can see that. All right. Chat, I have a confession. Yes, I do eat deodorant. I need it. I crave it. This is my confession. There you go. Do you like that? No, we're not tweeting that. That wasn't the deal. That wasn't the deal. That wasn't the deal. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm doing well. We're learning about Skaven, and we're going to continue our video on the Skaven. Thank you very much.
and worse as you go down further. Just to get in, there's a river of lava you have to pass, guarded by a rat guardian who glows bright green with warpstone. After that, you start running into—
How many to tweet it? The next, I think the next goal that I had for the chat writes a tweet, I think is at 1100. I think it is. That's the next one. That's the next chat writes a tweet. Because you guys really like that. No, there's been multiple goals of you guys writing tweets because I know you guys find it funny. There you go, I answered your question.
all sorts of nasties created by the smartest of master molders. To be quite frank, if you're here, you're either going to become one of those nasties or become food for one of those nasties. Though if you're real unlucky, you might get molded into the walls of Hell Pit. They can do that, apparently.
They
and
can?
yes, you are still alive and in agony when it happens.
Oh.
For what practical purpose this serves, I don't know, because Skaven aren't like the Dark Eldar in that they get physical and spiritual nourishment from suffering like that.
That's terrifying.
I think they
It's
genuinely
terrible.
just like doing that to people. All of this is supported by Clan Molder selling their creations to other races.
Ew.
Everyone wants a kaiju
No,
on
I'm
their
definitely not
side
part
in
of
a
this
war,
clan. This one's
and
disgusting.
Clan Molder is making, if not Godzilla,
No,
then at least a
absolutely
decent
disgusting.
approximation of him, with a ratty theme for flavor. The least impressive thing they export are just hungry rat swarms, likely slightly mutated at least by warpstone exposure and general experimentation. Though most Skaven can't actually control rats, some Molder packmasters
Rat.
can, and will send them scurrying towards
Here,
the
have a
enemies of
rat.
Skavendom for an appropriate price. Others are far more obvious in their value. Rat ogres are aptly named and can tear apart the enemies of the Skaven, as well as other Skaven, and Clan Molder charges a high price because of this. They know everyone wants one. Hell Pit abominations are the cream of the crop,
I
costing
do
the
not
highest
like
price,
those.
but
They're
also being one of
terrible.
the most powerful weapons a Skaven warlord could hope to command. If you'll excuse some more theory crafting, I would have to assume that part of Clan Molder's marketability is that once you buy a creature, it's pretty low maintenance. Just throw it in a big enough cage or hole and feed it some Skaven slaves every now and again. Easy
Yeah.
peasy. Whoever has to let it out when it's time for war is also probably getting eaten, but such is the life of the humble clan rat. Clan Molder is also perfectly happy to do custom jobs if you ask them politely and bribe them enough. Master Molders are nothing if not artistic with the liberties they take when experimenting on living creatures. Maybe you want your monsters to be especially armored. Thicker skin and metal can be bolted onto it for just a measly few dozen more extra warp tokens. Maybe you want your monsters to also have guns. Well, that's gonna run you the big bucks since that was a clan scry or collaboration project, but Stormfeeds are wanted perhaps more than even rat ogres,
That's
so
so
that can be done
interesting.
too. But maybe you're also a free-spirited rat and want your Clan Molder contact to do whatever he wants and show you the result. He's gonna happily march back to his workshop, spin a wheel a few times, and add whatever it lands on to his monstrous creation. You're either gonna get upcharged to high hell because he'll lie to you about the work that went in, or you may get a special discount for letting an aspiring artist work on his magnum opus.
This is-
Either way, it's
Oh,
guaranteed
this is so
to
gross.
be
I
horrific,
hate it.
and it'll probably be lethal to at least the first person you sick it on. The Skaven of Clan Molder themselves are an odd bunch, especially mutated by Chaos Waste energy as well as constant warpstone exposure, even by Skaven standards. Rampant hunger, extra limbs, and more are not uncommon to see, and sometimes the line between Clan Molder mutant and Clan Molder creation is functionally irrelevant. Throughout the Unclean has
that's
3
wonderful.
arms,
That's lovely.
warpstone jammed in his eye, and in his own words, endless hunger. The Packlord of Molder's Verminkin, who sits on the Council of 13, is technically 2 rats sharing one lumpy, misshapen, mutated body.
What?
They frequently argue with each other and would no doubt try to kill each other if it weren't for the fact that aside from the 2 different heads, they've all got the same organs. Fratricide is a lot harder to pull off when it's also suicide. One last thing of note is that Clan Molder is the best place to be a physically frail Skaven. If you have brains, they'll support your endeavors, not because they actually care about you, but because a smart, if physically weak Master Molder can still create profitable monsters. To be absolutely clear,
That's-
this is not charity. If you can't immediately prove you're smart enough or capable enough in some way to make up for being a runt, you are now food for someone's monsters. But if you can quickly prove your brain is worth the lack of brawn, they'll probably keep you around. Master Splinter hasn't been the same since he took a trip to the Chaos Wastes. and started smoking crack. Clan Eshin is the stealthy branch of the Skaven Under Empire, specializing in everything from hit-and-run tactics in war to high-stakes espionage and assassination.
Maybe
Calling any
this is
one
my-
Skaven clan
more
the
my
most
speed.
feared is tricky because they can all do horrid things to you when crossed, but the threat of a Clan Eshin assassination is something that always hangs over any properly paranoid Skaven warlord's head. Founded by Lord Visktrin, who never got to see the heights his clan would reach on account of running into a dragon, Clan Eshin's forebearers
I
traveled
thought it was
far
gonna be
to the
like. I thought it was gonna be like, oh, yeah, he was murdered by one of his own guys. I'd be like, oh man, of course. Who would have expected this?
east to Cathay and Nippon. There, for reasons that I simply cannot fathom, some of them decided it was a good idea to teach these mangy, rabid, evil rats how to be ninja assassins. There was even lore that at one point a Clan Eshin member was an advisor to Cathay. The Dragon Emperor must have
what?
been on a bender when that was allowed. For a while they were thought
That's
lost
insane.
to Skaven
No,
kind,
why would
but
you
after
allow
a few
that?
hundred years they slunk back into Skaven blight, set up a den, and became the chief spies and assassins of Skavendom. Clan Eshin, much like the rest of the Skaven, have two modes, but they're particularly pronounced with these guys. They have comedy mode
Can
and
you
utter
buy them
horror
off with pizza? Ninja rats like pizza. Perhaps they could be convinced with pizza.
mode. For the former, where else but Gotrek and Felix displays it the best. When some Clan Eshin gutter runners tried to assassinate Gotrek and Felix, they barely made it to Gotrek. And this was in the early books, so it was before Felix was properly terrifying in his own way. Even in spite of that, the entire assassination attempt reads like a Three Stooges bit. Rats tripped over each other, tripped over furniture, tripped over Felix, tripped onto their weapons. The entire event probably only took about 20 seconds, and by the end of it, almost all of the rats were dead. Their
That's
leader
funny.
escaped only to later be obliterated by Thanquol for the crime
Why? Can someone explain why he used the picture where there is extra cake on this guy? Like, excuse me? Excuse me? Why? Yeah, he is thick. What the heck?
of being vaguely annoying to Thanquol. On the other hand, enter Deathmaster Snikch. Deathmaster Snikch is like a rat version of the alien from Alien. He wields 3 swords of warpstone to super kill enemies dead. He can supposedly teleport using shadows and come out of them at will.
Oh,
he supposedly
shoot, that's
once assassinated an Empire official, yet the guy's door was locked the whole time and that was the only entrance, so how the hell did he get in? He supposedly can be anywhere at any time and you'll never know. All of this
Oh.
supposedly talk is intentionally
that means
cultivated by
He could be behind me.
Clan Eshin
I checked. We're good. We're safe.
higher ups because it adds to his terrifying reputation. Clan Eshin assassins completely unrelated to Snikch will carve his mark on the bodies of their targets just to further his legend. Presumably they don't complain about this because they're worried Snikch might pay them a visit for trying to rise above their station. For all that they are assassins, they do still have units to play as large groups on tabletop. Night Runners are skirmishers that have been given the barest amount of stealth training and taught how to throw shurikens and pointy rocks at people. This
I'd be
training,
surprised
mind
if
you,
he was in
includes
front of
stealing
me.
money from blind homeless people, and it has been noted that sometimes these homeless are apparently not only not blind, but proficient in martial arts. Clan Eshin is either rampantly incompetent on most levels or exclusively trains against out-of-work D&D adventurers. Feel free to assume whichever is funnier to you is true. Gutter Runners, meanwhile, are when a Clan Eshin rat can just about grasp concepts like actually sneaking, and are therefore much more dangerous. They can be armed with more than just weapons. Poison is a common thing for them to carry, as well as nets to trip enemies up on the battlefield or in their rooms to make the kill all the easier. And of course, a full-blown Eshin assassin is where the jump from goofy rat person to Michael Myers if he was a rat occurs.
Oh, gosh.
In day-to-day life, Clan Eshin deals in information gathering as much as killing people. Information is a valuable commodity, especially in the treachery-ridden Skaven world, and Clan Eshin will sell out their services to spy on rival Skaven warlords to anyone who can meet their price. Of course, they also may be on the payroll of the guy you're trying to spy on, so caution is always warranted. The Council of 13 makes frequent usage of Eshin services, spying on those near and far for their interests. Their den in Skavenblight is a fairly humble thing, but no one knows what goes on inside of it. Any Skaven that wanders too close tends to disappear, and you can assume all sorts of Home Alone-style traps with a lot more lethality in mind absolutely litter the place. They appear incredibly unified by Skaven standards, but that might just be because we rarely see the inner machinations of the clan. When a Clan Eshin character makes an appearance in a book, they're just as cowardly as other Skaven, so they'll certainly still sell out their fellows to save their own skin. It might just be we don't see the descent in info fighting common in other Skaven clans because they hide it very well. It's a lot harder to be horror movie villains when everyone knows your group is just as full of bumbling morons as theirs is. Clan Eshin overall is a fairly mysterious clan with only so much to be discussed, but I want to make it clear that they are to the rest of the Skaven an utterly terrifying force.
So far.
When the Second Skaven Civil War broke out, they were able to not only remain neutral in the conflict as a whole, but hired themselves out to all sides and make a profit without getting retaliated on en masse. In the first book of Thanquil's Omnibus, he regarded the local ruler of Clan Eshin and Underaltdorf as the greatest single threat he had to face, at least in terms of combatants.
Oh gosh.
That is how terrifying the Skaven of Clan Eshin are to the rest of the Under Empire. And though it was end times nonsense, it was Deathmaster Snykt who snuck into Thorgrim's escape chamber and killed him because he left the door open. They really can be anywhere, and you may only know you've been targeted by Eshin when an assassin comes to snuff out your life. Oh, and they also really love poison. There's a rat named Ricketic that's compiled a way to kill almost everything in the Warhammer world, mostly with poison.
Oh,
Funny
wow.
thing is, he sat down with some Imperial scholar and casually told him all about his knowledge. I don't think he even killed the guy afterwards. He just really loved talking about his craft, and his craft happened.
Man. That's how you know he's truly dedicated to his work. He just wanted it published. He's like, man, I want people to know how cool I am, how awesome I am. Dang.
To be poisoning people. That's oddly sweet, isn't it? At least by Skaven standards.
Oh man, I'm not gonna like this one. They're gonna be like, we make poisons and terrible gross things.
This is the other Skaven clan that provokes a sense of fear in Skaven outside of it. However, where Clan Eshin does it by having the potential to jump scare you at any given moment, the fear of Clan Pestilence comes from two distinct sources. One is their defining feature, that being their disease.
Oh, look at his teeth. Oh gosh, I just looked. Oh, ew, ew. Like the top teeth are fine, but then look at the bottom teeth. They're like at an angle. Oh, ew, ew.
But the other is something I bet you didn't expect to hear shouted outside of 40k or maybe by witch hunters. Heresy. The most obvious trait about Clan Pestilence is their disease-ridden everything. The origins of the clan come during a period of expansion and migration. Their forebearers, whose original clan name is lost to time, ventured under the oceans themselves for generations. This was generations in Skaven terms granted, so like a couple of decades, but that's still a pretty decent amount of time. When they finally arrived at their destination, they realized across the ocean lay the land of Lustria. Lustria, the home of the Lizardmen, is not exactly receptive to outside guests. The land itself is a murderous jungle like Catachan and 40k, if the whole thing was also magical. Plus, the Lizardmen are Space Marine-sized lizard people that can and will rip you apart for showing up. They lucked out on avoiding the Lizardmen, but when they arrived at the ruined city of Ketsa, the local disease ravaged the clan. At a certain point, barely 100 of them remained, and from here the lore diverges into what I personally call the fun Skaven route and the GW hard-on.
I like this. I didn't notice this art here. He's just holding a smaller rat. Like, he's going in the pot, but I don't know why I find this funny. This little rat is just chilling. He's like, okay, I guess this is happening.
Chaos route. In the fun Skaven route, they began worshipping the diseases that ravaged them. If these diseases were ravaging them so, it must be the Horned Rat's will, and so they would instead embrace this disease as the true aspect of their deity, that of a filthy, disease-ridden carrier of destruction. In the hard-on for Chaos route, there was a great unclean one under the city they started worshipping as an aspect of the Horned Rat.
Ew.
Same end result, but one is more Skaven insanity and an alternative to Nurgle if you like diseases, whereas the other is more of chaos actually being the origin the whole time. Regardless, their numbers grew, they cultivated quite the knowledge of disease, and after a while they returned back to the old world and Skavendom proper. When they showed back up, they immediately demanded things like territory and breeding rights, because Skaven are awful, massive amounts of Warpstone as tribute, because Skaven are greedy, and a seat on the Council of 13, because you might as well shoot for the moon. Predictably, everyone told Clan Pestilence to piss off. Rather less predictably for the Skaven, Pestilence responded with biological warfare and swarming them with plague monks.
Yeah, there
Initially,
it is.
it was expected that Clan Pestilence could be swiftly dealt with via the old reliable method of Rattling gun spam.
And did
then
not
the
happen.
disease got worse. Then Clan Pestilence obliterated an entire clan in the Southlands. Then hundreds of clans switched over to Pestilence's side. Of course, this is still a Skaven civil war. Much like their engineering, things will go wrong at any possible chance, and in this case it occurred when Clan Eshin had nearly every clan warlord of those that sided with Pestilence assassinated. With this rather upsetting turn of events, Pestilence pleaded for a meeting. It was granted, and the Lord of Pestilence, Plague Lord Nurglich, even managed to actually reach the Council of 13 through the swarm of assassins they sent his way. He was allowed to challenge for a seat on the council, and when he threw the weakest council member off the top of a tower, Clan Pestilence was allowed a seat and became one of the great clans. They would go on to be
This is like crazier than like Game of Thrones. It's crazier than Game of Thrones. What the heck?
responsible for the near destruction of both the Empire and Bretonnia through the Black Plague and Red Pox respectively, though both examples eventually also burned through the Skaven ranks at the height of their campaigning and eventually resulted in a second Skaven civil war. This one was resolved with the Horned Rat personally coming in to make sure everyone almost started behaving, but Pestilence kept their status and power they had gained up to this point. Yes, by the way, you heard that right. The Black Death in Warhammer Fantasy was caused by rats. Just so happened to be on purpose this time around.
I was like, wait, is it actually gonna be started by rats instead of like what is it, like fleas?
Pestilence is perhaps the Skaven clan least concerned with personal glory. Oh, to be sure, they will take credit for themselves, but at least amongst characters like Lord Skrulk, they'll try and do things for the glory of Clan Pestilence and themselves. To them, the Horned Rat is especially worshipped, as he is their sickly master who will bring ruin to all those who deny his plagued gifts. Working somewhat together will bring the ascension of not only him, of course, but Clan Pestilence as well. This is where the second part of fear against them comes in. Most Skaven view this as a highly heretical stance to take, breaking tradition with how the Horned Rat truly is to be viewed. The problem is Clan Pestilence is, if nothing else, powerful enough to keep themselves around after two massive civil wars, so one way or another, calling them heretics in the street and trying to kill them will just result in that Skaven's death. The other more obvious thing is that they're so disgustingly filthy and disease-ridden that standing near them can cause you to melt into sludge. Non-pestilent Skaven are no safer from this than other races, so it's also for practical purpose that this clan is kept at an arm's reach. Clan Pestilence will occasionally try and cook up some super plague to infect the world with, such as with the Red Pox or Black Death. They tried it in Nuln, but that was during a Gotrek Felix novel, so you can guess how that panned out for them. When it's time to come out in force, however, they rush down their enemy with countless infected rats that are actually bolstered by their diseases, and the rabid fervor of Clan Pestilence means that they'll run away far later than most other Skaven would. In the end times, this is how they took down the Lizardmen. The magical defenses set up were perfectly tailored to prevent any demon from invading the continent. They were not, however, set up to prevent millions of rats fresh out of Asmongold's basement from invading the land of the lizards. For a final note on them, the obvious
Asmongold for like catching more strays. What? I was gonna make like a VTuber joke. Dang.
This connection I brought up pretty quickly. Nurgle. There's a weird relationship between Pestilence and Nurgle, and indeed how much he's involved is up for debate. There is that whole thing about a Great Unclean One essentially creating Clan Pestilence, and for God's sakes, the leader of Clan Pestilence has, to my knowledge, always been called Nurglich, followed by whatever number of Nurglich we're on. On the other hand, the Horned Rat...
They definitely don't worship Nurgle. The guy called Nurglich. That's very, very curious.
Has repeatedly entered the mortal world, and Clan Pestilence is still allowed to exist. You might say that maybe Nurgle's too powerful for him to interfere, but Nurgle was at home and the Horned Rat was in their face. I see no reason that he couldn't interfere if that's what he truly wanted to, and get rid of the clan. So instead, here's some ideas for you to think about. Maybe Nurgle did start Pestilence, but as a disgusting asshole rat, the Great Horned Rat sort of adopted them, and now they feed him. Maybe that was never the case, and the Great Horned Rat was always their daddy. Or maybe it's a sort of team project between Nurgle and the Horned Rat. Skaven have worked with others before, and they joined up with Chaos in the end times to save their own skins. Of course, betrayal is inevitable if that's the case, but that's just more Skaven shenanigans to be had. And whatever the specifics, Clan Pestilence seems to be here to stay. Keep your toilets close by, friends, because diarrhea is sure to follow these rats' footsteps.
Ew.
The final Skaven clan we'll talk about is Clan Moors. Now, I'm gonna describe them to you, and the thought may creep into your mind that, holy shit, these are Skaven good guys. False. Incorrect. Remove that notion from your mind. There are no Skaven good guys. Such a thing does not exist.
Skaven
the
are
Skaven
all bad.
of Clan Moors are, however, perhaps the closest thing they've ever come to having something resembling a functioning code of ethics and morals. Best way to put it is about the Skaven as a whole are chaotic evil, Clan Moors is lawful evil. The Skaven of Clan Moors, even those from once rival clans, usually end up praising the leader of Clan Moors quickly, Lord Nodwell. As a member of the Council of 13, it's a safe, if wrong, assumption to make that Nodwell is using all sorts of tactics, from fear to bribery and coercion, or even magical means to keep his clan so loyal to him. In reality, Clan Moors has discovered something the rest of the Skaven have yet to conceptualize. If you treat your basic clan rats with something almost resembling decency, they will support you over the assholes who throw them into the grinder with a rusty pipe and a command to either fight and maybe
and let me guess, this is definitely novel to all the Skaven.
Die or run and definitely die. And if you arm them almost halfway acceptably, they can fight better. In Clan Moors, if you can be in any way useful, they will find a use for you, and rewards to fit that use. Only traitorous or truly feeble Skaven will be found as Skaven slaves amongst Clan Moors. Treachery, speaking of, is actually frowned upon. If you stab your superior in the back and ruin a battle plan, you're getting sent to the slave pits. Of course, if your commander is actually incompetent, or you can make him appear incompetent, then by all means see him killed. Clan Moors aren't good guys, remember. There are still plenty of Skaven slaves to be found there. It mostly reminds me of a Skaven version of Spartan-style training in regards to how they view treachery. If you can get away with it, you're probably more cunning than the last guy and deserve the spot. But for the non-Skaven slaves, Clan Moors is downright accommodating. Even the basic clan rats are allowed to live in decent-ish barracks and are given weapons and proper training. This has resulted in several things going for them that have caused Clan Moors to have a rather triumphant rise to power. In-house, Clan Moors quickly gains the loyalty of any Skaven they capture. Those that surrender immediately are allowed to become members of Clan Moors, and when they see the benefits it offers, they're happy to join. Because unwanted treachery is met with severe punishment, most of the Skaven in Clan Moors behave themselves more often than not. Out of house, part of the allure of Clan Moors is that a Skaven can hope for a better life. An actual proper career path of doing your job and being promoted through the ranks is entirely possible. It's worked so well that there's worries amongst the other Council of 13 members that even if they have Nodwell assassinated, Clan Moors will just pop out another Skaven to replace him and things will continue on as normal for Moors. There's also the morale drainer of other Skaven realizing who they're fighting. Because more Skaven are actually trained, they tend to fight far more effectively and for far longer without routing. This has in turn given them some good early victories that give them a reputation as fierce combatants. This in turn makes people afraid of Clan Moors because they have a reputation for being fierce combatants, which is again at least partially earned. So when Clan Moors comes knocking, many lesser clans will outright surrender. This not only bolsters Clan Moors with more Skaven that will soon be trained to Clan Moors standard, but is yet another victory for Clan Moors to wave around and cow other Skaven into submission with.
A self-fulfilling
their greatest
cycle.
feat yet has undoubtedly been their conquest of the lower levels of Carrick 8 Peaks. Known as the City of Pillars to the Skaven, it's become a vital hub of transportation across the Under Empire. Clan Moors controls at least the lower levels and will make any Skaven attempting to cross it or set up shop pay handsomely. It also means they're constantly fighting both night goblins and dwarfs, owning the skills of this clan's military even further. Speaking of, when deployed to battle, Moors can do a little bit of everything, but they're most well known for their regimented and elite soldiers. Clan Moors' storm vermin are a cut above the rest, and even their lowly clan rats can fight in something resembling the cohesion of an Empire State Troop company. Were it not for the end times, Clan Moors would very likely have been either a driving force in Skaven society for change, or at the very least the catalyst of yet another Skaven civil war. And if you don't mind me saying, I would bet that Clan Moors would be the first time the powers to be of Skaven Blight didn't come out on top. Clan Moors are not good guys. At their kindest, they don't view their fellows as comrades, but as tools to be cultivated, which is still leagues above other Skaven. Such as Queek Headtaker's relationship with Nodwell, that of a prized attack dog to be thrown at his enemies. But once again, it's far better than what the rest of Skavendom has to offer. As for Age of Sigmar, all the great clans have become types of clans. So now it isn't just Clan Eshin, for instance, but the Clans Eshin. They all still act the same way, though. A Skaven is still a Skaven, Skaven, even if
Why?
their branding has been diluted just a bit. The
Why?
only odd man out amongst these clans is Clan Moors, who seem to have vanished. That being said, the clans Verminous seem to be the replacement, and indeed have the same basic shtick of Skaven clan that has better normal troops, so maybe they just rebranded themselves to celebrate the new setting. And those are the major clans of the Skaven. Some a bit more regimented, some a bit more technological, all complete in...
So I would say, to answer the question, I am probably more Clan Moors or Eshin from like the 5 that we were given there. But yeah, I feel like it's Clan Moors, yeah. Yeah. I feel like that's the way to go. Yeah, it makes the most sense based on my personality. There's a little, like you said, lawful evil, but I'm more lawful than chaotic. So I would agree with that. I can agree with that. Moors, yeah, I was looking at them, like, they're definitely more like corn looking. My main AOS army is Clan Verminous, which is Moors. Tons of Clan Rat, Storm Vermin, and Kritok Foulblade. Yeah, it would have been fun if we had reached the goal to do the Skaven mini. I had that as like kind of a later goal in the stretch goals. I was like doing a Aurelia would have been really funny. But yeah, this was a solid video. Let me see if there's any more he has to say. 1 second.
Utter assholes. And remember, even the weakest of Skaven clans can be found right underneath your house at this very moment. Thank you as always to my wonderful channel members. You are the great clans to my Skaven Under Empire, standing out just that little bit prouder than all.
Be careful, they could be under your house. They could be under your house. Oh, there's a would you rather? Oh, okay. Hang on. Would you rather?
Alright, you gotta pick one. You either have to fight 1 Storm Vermin or 10 Skaven slaves on the verge of death by starvation. I'm taking the Storm Vermin. Logically,
I don't know enough to answer that, unfortunately, but I would just on the 10 that are on the brink of death via starvation, they're gonna fight way harder than any one guy is. So I would take my chance against him.
he's probably quite well fed and could kill me, but I bet I can talk my way out of it. Not by appealing to his morals or anything, God no, he's still a Skaven, but I bet I can BS my way into convincing him there's a Grey Seer right behind him, or that his stash...
Yeah, that could work. That could work. Ooh. Sorry, I'm gonna do a quick stretch. What do we think? What do you think? We want to chat to end our subathon? Do we want to do that? Do we watch another video? Or do we just kind of chat and just hang out? Yeah, let's chat. And I still have the rat in my hair. Have I seen the AOS Skaventide trailer? Sorry. So that was very loud. That was loud. Wow, okay. Yes, I have seen it. It's been a while. My bad. Sorry. There. So sorry. I was not expecting it to be that loud. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's perfect. We got our Skaven fun. We got our Skaven fun. It was good. Yeah, sorry. I'm so sorry. I did do that on purpose. My bad. My bad. So is the confession, I, Aurelia, am a proud rat of the Morse clan? Okay, I can do that. I can do that. All right. Chat, I have a confession. I, Aurelia, am a proud rat of the Morse clan. Yes, yes. There you go. There you go. Ryan, you would have to look on Twitter to see what people's reactions are, because if people reacted to it, you would see their comments. I would look there, because I don't think I got through all of them. So you'd have to take a look. My last tweet took off. What was that one? I forget which one it was that you guys wanted me to post. I thought there was a different one after that. 1 second. I forget what I posted. No, the last one was about me missing Sanguinius. The other one was the pregnancy one. Very, very different. Very different. Yeah, that's not the same. Mountain Dew is bad for the baby? Well, if you're giving it to the baby directly, yes, you should not do that. You should not give Mountain Dew directly to a child. That is not a good thing. That is not, you should not do that. That's bad. What the heck? Alright, we're gonna get do we keep Aurelia? No, don't do that. Don't do that. I think someone in my town did that, gave Mountain Dew to a baby. Yeah, they shouldn't do that. I don't think Mountain Dew should be accessible to kids until they're like 12 or 13. It's got a lot of caffeine in it. At least 12 or 13, probably older. Honestly, I think that's when I started having Mountain Dew, like when I was like 13 or something. Very America, but yeah, that's just I wouldn't say that's like very America. Like, here, let me give my child a soda that like a Mountain Dew. That doesn't feel like it. Have you never seen? I've seen Florida, like, yes, but like, I'm sorry, how many news sites are it's like, oh, like, mother gave her child Mountain Dew. I'm like, that doesn't strike me as like an America thing. It's like, it's just like, that's not on the news. It would be like if they gave them like alcohol or something, and that's bad. You should not do that. In any case. There's a family that gave a 5-year-old his own machete. Don't worry too much. It's blunted from all the rocks he hits with it. Was it blunted before? Because I could see you giving him like a fake sword or one that's like wooden or something. But I don't know. Like I think like young boys having like fake swords, like it totally makes sense. That's like a standard thing. Actual machete that like was sharp is not a good idea. I doubt any decent parent would not give their child a very sharp give their child a sharp sword. Hang on. Sorry. What about Cadian children? Well, we're not talking about, we're talking about regular Terran children. It's very different. It's very, very different. Not the same at all. Okay, so out of curiosity, I would like to know. So we had a lot of like fun activities that we did this week. It's been really, really enjoyable for me. But what was your favorite stream? Like what stream did you like the most? What did you enjoy? I'm really curious because this will help me like plan future events. Like personally, I really like the cooking one, even though it was like a lot of prep. I'm curious as to which ones you liked the most. And in a normal circumstance, maybe we'd like stream a little longer. Pick one or two that you liked. The one where I made you say you like pineapple pizza. Well, yeah, that's different. That's different. I'm talking about the topic, the entire topic of the stream. The Dark Tide collab was fun. Reacting is always solid. Okay. Cooking stream and Dark Tide, which I guess it doesn't matter which Dark Tide collab. I hope you guys like Dark Tide. We will have more Dark Tide this week. We have Dark Tide on Thursday and Saturday. Oh my gosh. But I will be playing with my new pupper. I'm very excited. I'm very excited about that. So I'm glad we hit that goal. Any Froggy collab is great. The Froggy collabs are a lot of fun. They're a lot of fun. You like this one because you love doing the writing for the streams and hearing the narration. Cooking was your favorite. Okay, well maybe I'll have to do some more cooking streams because that was because I did thoroughly enjoy that. It was a lot of effort, but I think for a future cooking stream we won't go that crazy. We won't go that crazy. We'll keep it simple. Instead of making 3 things, maybe we'll make 2 things. We'll make 2 things. That'll be a lot easier. But the food did turn out pretty good. It did turn out pretty good. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Because I like to keep things like Warhammer themed if I can. Which is why I don't usually do cooking streams. So that's kind of where I have it. The community competition streams are always my favorite. Win or lose, I get to see how talented everyone is. Yeah, I really like reading people's stories. It's like really, really nice. You gotta lean into your newly confessed Skaven heritage, 5 dishes simultaneously all over gas burners. Yeah, and how... pray tell, how am I going to power all this? I need some pretty hefty, like, large gauge extension cords to make that work. Warpstone? Yeah, you're right. You're right. What am I thinking? What am I thinking? Warpstone is the best way to do it. You right. You right. But I will say I have good news to report. The poster, not the poster. The art for the Warhammer Fantasy Aurelia is going to be underway shortly, and I will have it for you guys in the next like 2 or 3 weeks. I'm very excited. The ideas that we've been throwing around are pretty great, so I can't wait for you guys to see it. It's gonna look super, super cool. I think you guys will really, really enjoy it. There are many dishes that don't need the corpse part of the starch. I mean, that is true. That is true. We could say we are we are doing something else with the corpse starch. Oh, Ryan, I'm really happy to hear that that you've really been enjoying the streams, that they've gotten you through some like rough times. I really hope that that things improve and that things get better. Don't worry. Things aren't always as bad as they seem, and even when it is bad, there's always the possibility that things will be good. So I'm really glad. Thank you for saying that. That's very sweet. I'm really glad to hear that. I hope that when you guys are on these streams that it makes you feel like there's some good in this world, that there's something in life that you can enjoy and just be like happy to be around. That last sentence didn't make a lot of sense, but that there's more good in this world than you expect. The pregnant tweet was also my favorite. Doesn't count. But well, I will do more cooking streams. I think that'll be fun. The historic moment. My favorite was finally hearing you admit you're an Eldar. Look, I'm not. I had to say that. That was a chat confession. I had to say it. I had to. The clip exists. That doesn't mean I wasn't saying it under duress, but I had to say it. It was a confession and therefore canonized. I don't think I I don't know. It's super canon, yes. When did I say I got a new puppy? Oh, you're talking about Darktide. The Arbites, yeah. No. I'm talking about Darktide. I'm getting the Arbites DLC. It was one of the milestones and the goals that I made. Did you get a name for the dog yet? No, I'm gonna start thinking of names, but I'm gonna play on Thursday with the dog. And we're gonna go from there. So I'm gonna think of some names. No, you're good. No, you're good. I could definitely see how that would be confusing. I could definitely see how that would be very, very confusing. Currently, I don't have a fund for like games to play. I've heard about Slay the Princess. I did watch another streamer play it, so I know the ending, unfortunately. So there's that. there's that. I do kind of know the ending, so I apologize. Your Mastiff. Oh yeah, but yeah. L3M4N RU55. Yep, Lehman Russ. That's perfect. I want to find like a really like cool like goes hard name. I'm gonna find a name that goes really, really hard. Yeah, sorry. I happened to see the game a while ago, and it has to be like over a year ago at this point that I watched them, and I'm like, oh, shoot. I'll come up with something. I want it to go hard, so I'm gonna come up with a really cool name. Terry the Terror? No. No. Don't worry, I'll come up with something, and if I need help, I'll ask you guys for some ideas on Thursday. Yeah. So. Man, this feels so weird. Like I have been like streaming every like day for like a week, and it feels weird. Like I'm like, man, now I'm gonna like finally I am gonna pick a name. I am gonna pick a name. Excuse me? I have 2 days. I have tomorrow off. I have time. I have time to think about. I'm gonna pick a name, and it's gonna be a cool name. It's gonna be a cool name. I'm gonna think of one. I'm picking a name for the dog. For the dog that I'm gonna have when I play Darktide. To clarify, not for this it has nothing to do with that other tweet I made. Coming up with a name for the dog. Let me make that 100% clear. There are no twins. I don't know what you're talking about. I have no clue what you're talking about. Aurelia. I'm definitely not gonna name the dog after myself. I don't like that. That's not a vibe in my opinion. It's also no. No. You can see Aurelia's lips quivering with anticipation. No, that's just I think it's just hearing noise. I think that's it. That's it. I am excited to relax a little bit, but it'll feel weird to not have like streamed like it. I think it would feel weird if I wasn't streaming on Thursday, but that was the only time we could get together to play Darktide. So I don't feel like I'll really get a moment to relax, because it'll be Wednesday off, Friday off, like Wednesday off, Thursday on, Friday off, Saturday on, maybe Sunday. I'm deciding on if I want to stream on Sunday. I am not sure yet. But I'll let you guys know. Because we've got some cool things to look at for regular 40k stuff. That Luton video. I definitely want to watch that. Because it's about Sanguinius, and I love Sanguinius. What else? There was some other stuff. We have a couple other things I need to do. So we need to set up the reviewing chat memes. So we'll be doing that. Maybe it won't be a competition. Maybe a competition was a bad way to put it, but we're going to review chat's memes, and we've got some more stuff to prep for. It's going to be fun. Princeps, it's already a lore accurate dog name. It would work. It would work. And yes, you guys need to pick me an army. It'll probably be for my next game with Froggy. So I'm gonna give her a heads up on that. We've got a couple things that if you join the Discord, you can participate in those polls. We've got redeems and stuff too that we need to decide on. So the next couple days, you should be, you should join the Discord if you want to like have a say in like what's going on for some of these rewards. Because I will do the polls there. I won't do them on like the YouTube side because Twitch doesn't have like another option like to post things like that. But yeah, and then I'll be posting some of the VODs for some of the videos I've reacted to. So I'll be editing them and making them their own separate videos instead of people having to wade through the live stream. Where will the polls be posted? In the Discord server, Russell. So, but yeah, feel like now is probably, would we also get another link? Yeah. There you go. Let me think. What was I gonna say? We raiding? Probably not. Probably won't raid tonight. No, I just want to say thank you everyone for participating in the subathon. I had such a great time hanging out with you. I definitely want to do more of that prior to, well, we'll probably do a subathon for when my debut comes up. I'm sad that we can't do it in November, but I think it'll be good to make sure I have extra time to get things done. So, yeah. Oh, Warlike So, thank you so much for the gift sub. I appreciate it, man. Thank you. I'm very happy with what we got to. You guys are very kind and generous to me. So yeah. Is there a Spider Mom? No, she wouldn't be called Spider Mom. I do have a mom, yes, but she's not called Spider Mom. So. Yeah. But in any case, everyone, thank you for being so kind to me. Thank you for what I would call a very successful subathon. And I will see you on Thursday and Saturday. I will post a schedule in the Discord about what our plans are for the weekend, tonight or tomorrow, but definitely playing on Darktide on Thursday and Saturday. So I will keep you guys informed of the times, and yeah, I just appreciate, hope it was enough for the new model. I won't tell you what, okay, okay, I will put it this way. All of the funds are going towards the new model, but it's not, I'm spending a lot of money to get a really nice one made. So like the art is super nice, the rigging is really good, so it doesn't cover it, but this does help significantly, which I am very grateful for. A debut? I'm not a debutante. It's just to show off and showcase the new model. So this time in like you know, in February, this model will be no more. I won't be using it, and I will have a brand new model. But she looks really good. She looks really good. So yeah, so I am grateful. Everything you guys did is like a huge help. It definitely covered the down payment. It depends on what you consider the down payment. But anyways, I won't get into the details. But I'm so very excited to show you guys. Sad that we are delayed, but it will be worth the wait. I absolutely promise. Is the new model the Christmas one with the bolter? Wait, I don't know what you're referring to. No one knows what the new model looks like. No one in chat knows what the new model looks like. So, no. I did have a goal. I was a little nervous that we might hit it, but I had nothing to worry about. I had one of the goals for the subathon be a sneak peek at the model. Oh no. Oh no. Welcome in, Helbernaut. Welcome in, Raiders. My name is Aurelia Tempris. I'm a Warhammer VTuber, but this week we are just actually about to wrap up our week-long subathon, where we have been exploring Warhammer Fantasy and Age of Sigmar, very different from what I normally cover. Welcome in. I saw Rat Lauren was legally obligated. Yes, we were talking about the rat clans earlier. Someone asked me a question as to which rat clan I would be a part of, and we determined I would be Clan Moors. Clan Moors. No, I'm not the Nurgle clan. My mods, they do not tell the truth. They lie. They lie a little bit. They lie a little bit. No, we'll talk for a bit more. We'll talk for a bit more, don't worry. So yes, what were you guys doing for your first stream? Did you guys have fun? Were you painting anything? Normally you paint, but were you doing anything else today? And thank you so much, Raiders, if you need to sleep, eat, or if you need to relax, do whatever you need to do. Don't feel like you gotta hang around. I appreciate the raid. I was painting some garlic lads for Turnup 28. Garlic lads. Garlic monsters. I assume these are like specially designed minis and they're not part of like Warhammer? I'm not familiar with these garlic boys. They're homemade. Okay. I was like, I have never heard of this before. I'm very curious, but I'm like, what's that about? Well, good. I'm glad it was good. I hope it was a nice, fun, relaxing time. It's from an indie war game that's like Napoleonic Wars, Monty Python, and root vegetable body horror. That is an odd combination. Hang on, I'm gonna see if I can get like a picture of this. What is this? So it's homemade, okay. So, but like, is it something I can find on the internet? I'm very curious. Turnup 28. Turnup 28. Oh, this already looks creepy. This already looks creepy. Oh, no, I don't. No. This already... No, I don't like these vibes. These vibes are not for me. I don't... It's spooky. I see the garlic guy. At least I think that's a garlic guy. Interesting. Yeah, it's not my vibe. Not my vibe, but that's okay. That's okay with me. And thank you for the follows, Daka Flaccafe, Flame, Nanara, and Edith, and anyone else who followed during the stream. I'm sorry I couldn't say thank you earlier. The vibes are spot. Yeah, it looks a little interesting. I'm not a gribbly horror enjoyer, so I like it. But if it's not your thing, I totally understand bouncing off it. Yeah, it's okay. This is my personal preference. I'm not super into that. But thank you so much for the raid. I'm glad you had a good stream. Please like go eat or sleep if you need to do that. Go to the bathroom. Grimdark Veggie Tales? That sounds very scary. That sounds very, very scary. I wouldn't recommend that. I wouldn't recommend that. Yeah, I prefer my fantasy and my sci-fi, and it's okay if my sci-fi is a little grim dark. I can accept that, but there's a level of horror that I'm not a huge fan of. VeggieTales 40k when GW? I don't know if they'll ever do that. I want nothing but grimdark in my sci-fi. There's only war. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. The other sci-fi universes where they can like coexist with the aliens, sometimes I'm like, oh wow, that's like really idealistic. But there's a lot of like assumptions you got to make there. That took forever to happen. Like they don't tell you all the wars that probably occurred as a result of getting everyone on, like a lot of those races on a unified front. And then consider this. If they had a whole like, if they had wars where they had to like where they were like, some people were like absolutely against it, like there is a good chance that there were like several like alien races that were just annihilated as a result because they were not willing to work with said like republic or whatever, and like they could have been like antagonistic. It's like, oh, like you don't think about that, but like how do you get such like a peaceful society? There's gotta be war. It's not gonna be perfect. They can try, but you will have people who want nothing to do with peace or wanting to coexist in that manner. I did just finish the second Watchers of the Throne book, which was a nice politics break from the horrid grime and misery. Yep. I need to Watchers of the Throne. I gotta read those. I should have read them a while ago, but I'm in the middle of Gotrek and Felix, which has been very, very entertaining. I really like it. Let's show them our peaceful ways with force. Well, there's a difference. There's two very different things. If someone is being like intentionally antagonistic when you're like, dude, we want peace, and like, yeah, we'd like for you to join us, but like, and we'll leave you alone. But if you're antagonizing, it's like, just like Star Trek, at first it looks like utopia, but the more you learn about the universe, the more you realize all the bad things that happen. Well, yeah, like, and if you just take more than 5 seconds to think about it, not every alien race is going to agree to get along. That's just how it is. Like, heck, no one, if like, even in like the world today, no one group of people gets along like in the same way. They have different opinions, that's fine, that can be worked around, but like some are just naturally antagonistic, which we're not gonna get into. But like if humans can't do it, imagine like alien races with vastly different cultures. Vastly different cultures and how they do things. It's not always gonna work, if we're being perfectly honest. That's a lie, we get along here perfectly. Okay. If you say so. If you say so. To be fair, I've also been meaning to read Gotrek and Felix, but instead I went for a Gene Stealer's book. Well, I'm reading the first book, which is Traitorslayer, and I'm enjoying it. A lot of people say it's kind of like slow, but I used to be an avid like fantasy reader and enjoyer. Like when I was younger, I read lots and lots of fantasy books. So I quite enjoy the story so far. So that's I really like it. I'm recommending it. I'm only like partway through. But it's pretty good. And though that one's technically not even like the best book, and they've got like 22 books or something like that. Skaven Slayer is my favorite book. I have no clue, like, in the order of things, what, like, where that one is. I don't know if it's 4. I don't know if it's 5. I don't know what it is. I just know that it exists, and that's it. I feel compelled to either read all in the series or nothing. That's why I haven't started the Armin books, because there's like 5 of those. Well, you don't have to read them back to back. Like the Ciaphas Cain books, I don't recommend reading them back to back because the story gets stale kind of quickly. Like you don't, it's good to take breaks. You don't need to read them all in one go. You don't even have to like read them chronologically, but you don't have to go from one book to the other. Logically, I agree, but I'm built wrong. Okay, I don't know what to tell you then. Because there were some books where I was like, yeah, I really don't want to read this. I want to take a little bit of a break. And so I did. I would take a break, and then I'd come back to it later. I'm like, oh, like I need to finish the Ciaphas Cain books. But I'm like, oh yeah, it's been several months. I should pick one up again. Because it's like, I've had enough of like a break. But I recommend working on that if you want to have more enjoyment when it comes to reading books. And just being like, yeah, maybe I won't get to this one. It's fine. No big deal. The first Go Trek omnibus is great because Go Trek and Felix are fresh and are coming into their characters. Some of the later ones do be similar. Yeah, I would imagine that there's some things that get really, really similar. But I am liking it so far. I am liking it, and I recommend it. It is a very nice change of pace, less grimdark, and I'm like, oh yay, adventuring, good things are happening. It's not like your typical Warhammer universe where things just suck. It's like, oh, things suck a little bit, but like I just really, I don't mind it at all. Ow. How's your evening? Been busy assembling printed blood claws during my birthday. Oh, well, happy birthday, Mad. I hope you're having a very good day. Mine's been pretty good. We are wrapping up our subathon, just kind of chatting, kind of about whatever, Warhammer Fantasy mainly, what we find interesting. So I hope you've had a good birthday. I've hope you got to hang out and spend some time with friends and or family, or that you will get to later this week, maybe on the weekend. I hope it's been a good time. Droxus, you have a birthday as well? I will also be streaming on your birthday, so if you say something in chat that it's your birthday, I will wish you a happy birthday if you were there on Thursday for the Dark Tide collab. Sorry, I'm like stretching, and it like makes my model like freak out. I've sadly got commitments on Thursday. Well, I hope they are birthday commitments. Well, you're safe from the froggy dinner. I'm a bit relieved. Honestly, I'm a little bit relieved. I thought that would be a fun one, but I was also very nervous about giving Froggy a lot of power. I think she would have been fair and reasonable, but I imagine it still would have, she still would have made me have some gross combination, like, heaven forbid, cheese on cake instead of cheesecake. Stretching, no one redeems stretch? What, I can't like drink water whenever I want? Giving Froggy any power is cause for concern. Sometimes yes. Sometimes yes, I agree. wouldn't want the next live stream to be from the hospital bed. I would put my foot down in some case if it was something that was really bad. I'd be like, yeah, girl, no, you're gonna have to pick something else. Like, not that. Like, I'm not having anything that's moldy or gone bad. Like, I would have set some restrictions. But thank goodness that we don't have to worry about that. Perhaps I should close out stream before, but so we don't hit that goal right at the very end, because that would suck. That would suck. What if she gets you brand new Chinese? I don't know, man. No, it would be interesting. It would be interesting. So at this rate, I apologize, Halbernot. We're getting ready to close out our stream, so I apologize that we're not going to be able to do too much tonight. Yes, we've got a couple things. So actually, here, let me go through the list of things that I owe you guys. 1 second. So you guys get to pick a new redeem out. I'm getting the Arbites DLC. I have a Warhammer Fantasy art commission on the way. And then, on top of that, I need to watch the podcast 3 from If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device. I have a Sister of Battle outfit. You guys need to pick an army that I will play Tabletop Simulator with. And then Aurelia for a week. Thank you, Droxus, for the sub. Thank you, man. So yeah, there's a couple of things. They will come out in the next like week or so. Actually, maybe we can start. Maybe we'll start on. I'll let you guys know when the things are happening. I owe you guys a couple things, but don't worry. I will make sure we do them in the next like couple weeks. We'll get it all done. I promise. We also have pumpkin carving, and then we have a reviewing chat's memes. So I will have all of that stuff set up very soon so we can all have a great time. Now, before anything else happens and Froggy gets to pick my meals, we are going to end the stream. Thank you so much, everyone. Again, I really am grateful to all of you. All of the funds are going to go towards my 2.0 model. I gotta wrap this up. All of these are going towards my 2.0 model, which I will debut in February. I will have a lot of announcements prior to that, so you guys get to see the brand new model. Thank you guys so much for a wonderful week. We will do more of this again. There's so much Warhammer Fantasy content. Like, I think future subathons, it would be nice to do more Warhammer Fantasy so we can really learn everything. So, thank you guys for the wonderful week. Please go get some food. Do not skip leg day. And I will see you all on Thursday and Saturday. Bye, guys.